been so far off base with where we fucking are. It's unreal.
It's staggering.
We're going live now.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, mate, it's going to be up in like 2 seconds. So, all right. I think I'm going to have to call the big guns in tonight. I think it's a case of where the fuck is John and where the fuck is the Fig, because this is bigger than...
The guy from the Irish Times just finished speaking to John as well. He's speaking to John first, and then I spoke to him. I said, you speak to John?
Yeah. Right, guys. I don't know if you can hear us, but we should be live now. We're just getting everything set up, so bear with us for the first few minutes. Excuse the hair. It's even more crazy than usual. I wasn't expecting to go live this evening. It's quietly enjoying a gardening program of all things, and yet here we are. So thanks, Cal, for giving me the heads up, mate, that this was even something was happening this evening. He'll hopefully be joining us shortly. Right, let's get the link out there for everyone. We are live now. I'm genuinely shaking, like I can't fucking type at the moment. Right there. Right, who have we got? Hi, John. Right, John, you getting in on us, mate? Oh Christ, I'm running behind. There we go. Get us live. Get us up. Get us looking at participants. Right. John, get on this stream. Oh, fuck me. Right. Hi, guys. Like I said, we are just getting ourselves organised. Get the comms out there. Please share it with everyone that we're here so that people know that this is here. I'm trying to call in the big guns as well. So you can see if I can get John and the Fig to come join us, and anyone else who wants to dial in. This is a open thing, so just hit me up on Twitter and I will get you the invite to share the outrage which is going to be there this evening. This is just like nothing that I thought any of us think was coming. Here we go. Oh, shit, wrong link. Where's the bloody thing? There we go. Oh, right. Mark, how are you feeling, mate? What are your views?
No words, man. Earlier this evening, I spent a while talking to a guy from Irish Times, saying to him how I was positive that the platform would recover. That was at about 7:30. So I'm going up the stairs here just because my wife's downstairs. About 7:30 this evening, saying how positive it was that the platform would recover, and it's been a terrible time, but they've done the right thing. They've cut it. They've misled us, but it'll come back. And that's 10 to 10 right now.
Yeah.
About 3 hours ago, and I have no words. That just in that update. How can things go from we need to cut dividends to make the platform more sustainable to now that we're basically calling in liquidators? Honest to God, man, it's devastating. It is the worst fears that we all thought would potentially happen, but not now. How did they let it get so bad to the point where they're only announcing that they needed to cut the dividends, and then in this short period of time, just we need to call in liquidators? I'm flabbergasted. I'm in shock. There's actually part of my body that's shaking that it got so bad so quickly, and they are I don't want to swear or curse, but I feel like I
I
need
think
to.
I think we're past that. I think this is well past. I'm not going to swear this evening. This is a fucking joke. There you go. I've kicked it off for you. Feel free to go
Uh,
at it as hammer and tongs as you
they're,
want.
they're, in my mind for the last couple, because when I spoke last week, I was a bit down. I was a bit down. I was a bit fucking devastated. But I thought, you know what? I've done the right thing. And now you can't. I'm sorry. I don't like using that word. But what other ways to describe what they have done to get to this point? How?
Oh, right.
How have they been able to lie to people? How are they allowed to take money and bets this last week? If they were running out of cash and it was that apparent that they were running out of cash where they can't even pay dividends at this going rate, they should have shut the platform down last week. It should not have been allowed. It should have been this nightmare scenario where no dividends were paid, no phones were answered. It shouldn't. They have completely gone above and beyond my own worst nightmares of the people that run this company. You know, there's not enough graves in hell for what they have done to people right now.
No, absolutely, mate. This is, I mean, right. We were talking about, everyone's been talking about this on these live streams, right? About negligence. Okay. So we were saying that it was negligent management. They should never have been increasing the dividends and that they should have known beforehand where they were with things and they shouldn't have let it get this far and all that side of things, right? This goes so far beyond anything we were talking about before, because this is something where in the space, so first we had in the space of like a couple of months, we've gone from the best financial position ever, or to like, we need to reduce dividends. We need to cancel IPDs to survive. We need to reduce dividends to survive. We've got a restructuring plan that means that we can somehow maintain dividends at a level that we've been paying, to we have no money left to the point where we're calling in the administrators.
Yeah.
I mean that is, we are now definitely into criminal negligence, surely, or some kind of, I mean, I probably shouldn't be saying these things live on a stream because it's probably going to get me in trouble, but at the end of the day, you know, how can you deteriorate that fast, and how can you continue to put out comms that are not giving the state of how severe this is, because people have been putting more money in. People, they shouldn't have been taking deposits if they thought they were anywhere near this state. They should not have been taking deposits. You know, if they thought it was anywhere near this state at all. It is a fucking ridiculous thing to be doing. And right, so there's some questions in the thing here about liquidators. So the way they're phrasing this statement, it sounds like they will treat the community as investors effectively. So we would have a stake in the administration. If anyone that's ever been involved in like liquidations of companies, you will know that, okay, Jacob Bytes says it's insolvency practitioners. The way they're talking about it, mate, it sounds like they're a bit confused about exactly what it is, because in one statement they're talking about it being people coming in to look to restructure the business. And another point, they're talking about us being sort of shareholders that might get some portion of the asset valuation back. It's just all very inconsistent, but I'm just going to go back to the direct announcement again and just reread it to get myself fully up to speed. And please, if you guys have got better knowledge of these sort of legalities, then please let me know and come on the stream and share it with everyone to give them the best view possible. If you've got differing views to us, please share them in either the comments or come in and have a chat with people, because what this is about is trying to understand as much as we possibly can to give people as much information as possible so that people can get their heads into the right place of where we are with the current situation, and how we as a community can react and support each other at this time, because you know, this feels like this has gone so much further than I think anyone was predicting at the moment. So Mark, if you could just take over for a sec while I just have another quick skim of this to see if I can.
I just don't know on the ethical background of the people that run this company. They put the announcement out last week, and they had to wait 30 days for those dividends to decrease. Yet, as I say, a week later, they're now saying that it's unsustainable and they need to call these people. What that means technically from the announcements could mean different things. My understanding is once you call them the liquidators, that's it's not a good look for any company. That is when basically you're no longer a going concern, and they need to see what assets can be stripped from the business to repay debts. But someone else with more knowledge than me will clarify that, and hopefully what I'm thinking isn't the case. But it is completely and utterly misleading what they have spewed out there for the last few months about being financially secure. The leadership have completely and utterly misled everyone. Doesn't matter if you've got £100 in the platform or £1 million in the platform, they have misled everyone to continue investing. And the people, Big Don, why they're not Big Don, people have said he's an athlete or not. Big Don has continued to buy, and there's been other people that have continued to buy, believing that they've taken the right course of action that will make the platform more sustainable. I'm sorry, a week later is not more sustainable. It's just by no stretch of the imagination more sustainable. If we got 6, 7, 8 months down the line and they said, look, we've tried it and it hasn't worked, fair enough. A week is nowhere near long enough for the course of action that they've taken. Also throw into that the announcement, they said, the Q&A, which is now infamous within AFI folklore. Clearly at that point, they knew shit was hitting the fan when that came out. It could not have been unexpected that they announced the Q&A, and then 3 weeks later, we are suspending the platform, we're suspending training, we're calling in these professionals to come in and look at the scope of the business. So it's misdirection, magician, Houdini. That's what they were trying to be. Houdini, look what the left hand is doing while the right hand's performing the magic. Only unfortunately now we're all looking at the right hand, and the right hand is clearly pulling. It's playing the fiddle. It's not doing anything magical at all. I feel disgusted. I really do. And I feel embarrassed for myself that I've spoke to my work. I spoke to my work manager about the position that I was in with Football Index, and my work manager thankfully, understood. They gave me, as I put on my Twitter feed, a lighter load for the day to try and get my head in order and whatnot, because I wasn't feeling well. I was physically sick at one point. I spoke to a guy from the Irish Times today, and I still believed in the platform. I still believe in the concept, the idea that, and I backed it at that point, and I don't believe it's a Ponzi scheme. I still don't believe that it is. But dear Lord, how do you go from billion pound cap, we're going to grow so much, we're financially secure, to this? And how was I so gullible and I'm so grateful, because I've read the stories on the timeline about people who have friends and family invested, and pretty much all my family and friends said it's not for me. It doesn't sound like something we get into. But I don't know. There's so many thoughts going through my mind right now. None of it is good. There's not. It's destruction. It's destructive. I feel hurt. I feel let down. I feel. I can't grasp the range of emotions at the most right now. I have the emotional range of a teaspoon, but that emotional range is directed toward anger. And the bastards have done nothing all week to say, look, worse is coming. They traded and they let people trade. I'm sorry for you guys. I'm sorry for the people that continue to trade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the people that believe in the platform.
So, right, let's have a quick look at some of the comments in the statement. So we've got some things in here in the statement. So one statement here, which is a green shoot to clasp onto, is right, where is it? The restructure could involve equity in the company being distributed to customers, It could involve board representation for customers, and a new talent management team will be put in place along with other things. So we'll be looking to seek the best outcome for customers with the goal of continuing the platform in a restructured format. Now, hopefully what this is saying is that if the worst comes to worst and Football Index absolutely ceases to be an entity, then there will be some form of financial return to us as customers. So that is something. It won't be anywhere near where your value was last month, because it will be some apportionment that will be done, and it's always X pennies in a pound. That is the way these things go if we go to the extreme end. So we've got administration rather than liquidation. Guys, if anyone's a full-on actual accountant that can explain in detail the difference between administrations, liquidations, voluntary arrangements, all of that kind of jazz. I'm just going to have a quick look at Companies House actually and see if we can see anything on there about what exactly it says on there. If it says anything to give us a bit more detail.
As some football banter, and I do apologise if there are Rangers fans out there in advance, but if you go into administration and survive, you are still the same company. If you go into liquidation, that's it. And no creditors get anything. Sorry, Rangers fans. Sorry, that's my one moment of joy. Congratulations on the 55 as well.
Didn't they end up selling Rangers for like £1 after? So I mean, it's open anywhere shit.
Something like that, yeah. You're charged green for £1, and then everything got liquidated. But yeah, that Frog, you're an Invernessian. You'll know a bit more about Scottish football than probably most of us. But yeah, that's my lighthearted, feel good story about tonight. Football Index are doing a Glasgow Rangers. The history has ended.
Yeah, so there's nothing on Companies House to say anything about administration or voluntary arrangements or anything like that. So they've not updated that yet. Addy has joined us simply to make one statement, I believe.
Yeah, my statement. Fuck you, Mike Bowen. Fuck you, Adam Cole. Fuck you, Football Index. You've mugged a whole community off. You thieving cunts. Fuck off. But no, honestly, I'm here for everyone. Obviously, I'm shocked. I'm shaking with rage, and I'm just, honestly, I don't even know what to think. I'm so angry right now. I'm feeling for everyone, and I just don't know how these thieving cunts can basically take our money. I feel sick. I feel for everyone. I really hope everyone's okay. I've always said, my DMs are open to anyone. I just don't know what to think now. I don't know what's going on. As a Bournemouth fan, I should, know about liquidation and all this, but I just don't know how it works. I've just literally come on to just listen to clever people talk and just say, fuck you, Mike Bowen. So yeah, I'm just listening now. I'll stay on if that's all right. And
yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, the more the merrier from my stance.
Apologise for my language, but fuck you. I'm just so angry. I'm literally shaking. I'm shaking uncontrollably. I'm just raging. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
I don't blame it. Like literally, while I was setting this up, my hands were shaking. That's how I'm feeling right now. And I was struggling to type stuff in here because it's just so abhorrent what they've actually done here, and
disgusting. It's really, I just don't understand how anyone can, especially in this time. I just don't get it. Why are they just such cunts? I'm really sorry. I can't help myself. You cunts.
Yeah, Cal, how about you, mate? Where's your head at the moment?
Firstly, obviously, I'd like to say to everyone, personally, thank you for reaching out to me last Sunday. I did get in a bad way and have a lot of good messages, support. and I am now on the right tracks to where I want to be and getting there. But obviously, this is going to have an even more bigger effect on a lot more of the community now. So, like Addy said, and like everyone says, if you are struggling, use Twitter. If it's public, if it's DMing someone, please like speak out, because it's the best thing I did this week. And you may not think you need it, but you do. Just speak out. We're all here. We're all one. We've all been screwed over by these absolute snakes, and I can't do anything but shadow what Addy said, really. I guess from like a simple point of view, after reading their announcement, I read it as they're done, but there's maybe a slight chance, but we'll see.
So the things I'd say here is, like, tonight is not the night to take action on things, because there is potential hope in this around things of a buyout, because if they're this bad a state, they'll be desperately looking for somebody to buy them at a low rate just to take on the liabilities, which is a hope for us, because that's something that everyone's been talking about as a positive thing. There is the potential that if it does go as south as it can go, they are looking to get some equity out to the community, which means that something would come back. We've got no idea what that might be, but that is something. So it is kind of going to be a holding pattern over the coming 10 days until these administrators come in place and give us some kind of scope of exactly what this is they're saying, because this conversation, the way they're presenting it, to me sounds very disjointed and confused about exactly which path they're going. I don't think they really even know themselves where they are. I think they've called these people in to go, help, we don't understand, we're fucked. We've got a new FC, and the only thing I can think has happened here is that CFO was basically pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. He's left, a new CFO's come in, or somebody's actually looked at the books properly and gone, holy shit, how is this in this state? And what was he telling us last week? Because you cannot go from, we're in a minor problem, we're going to restructure things, get rid of IPDs, to we're scrapping all dividends, to we are completely shutting down the platform in like that rapid a descent, unless it's literally there's been, the financial officers have been completely misleading the internal part of the company, and somebody else has finally come in when they've left and seen the scope of how bad the situation is. I can't see any other way in which things can descend in that much of a plane crash kind of way. Happy for other people to discuss, but yeah, that's kind of my take on it. People talking the things about could you sell Hadron? Bez, mate, I don't know if you've seen the announcement on the app. People probably haven't had emails. They probably won't get emails for like 6 weeks, knowing the timelines of Football Index emails. But basically, the company's been completely locked down. All withdrawals locked down. All dividends. Everything is locked down at the moment. It's all completely caged up. I cannot understand why they're locking withdrawals. I imagine it is because of the administration type rules of process that as soon as that is announced that all assets have to be locked. I would have thought the most decent thing they could have done was instantly just eject all the funds into your bank accounts to make sure that at least everyone was sitting in their cash pots before they did this. But, since when have they done us any favors?
The issue there is there'll be other creditors.
Yes,
so you'll have the landlords, whoever they're renting the clouds from. There's going to be a lot of people. If it just self-destruct, there's going to be a lot of people looking to get their caps filled with money. So that's probably why they haven't been able to distribute the funds tonight. And I just want to say again, I said this last week, and I've been saying it quite a bit on the timeline. Think about the staff. The staff right now may be losing their jobs, 20, 30 grand a year. All those guys that we tweet and message to, they're basically waking up to, my job is gone, and they're going into probably the hardest labour market that a lot of us have known. People here have been out of jobs. we've all lost a lot of money. They've lost a job. They've landed on the shit, and they've probably taken a lot of the abuse over the last weeks and months. So thoughts of those guys. I hope they land on their feet as well, as of course I hope everyone in the community lands on their feet. But those guys will be in my thoughts and prayers tonight, and I hope they come out of this well.
Absolutely. I think again, I could be right or wrong here, but one of the things they said in that latest announcement was it wasn't received very well. Like, what else do you expect us to do when you just put a statement out and run away for a couple of days and stay silent and not speak? Like, if he comes out and does a video or anything and addresses us like human beings, then maybe we come across a bit more understanding than what we've done now.
Right. Sorry, I'm going to do a quick bit of Google law research and see what I can learn about administration in the next like 25 minutes. I repeat, if anyone's got actual experience of administrations or other legal obligations of this kind of nature or accountancy type things that would like to come on the call and explain it in a far better way than my layman's interpretation, please hit me up and I will bring you onto the stream to explain to everyone. But in the meantime, I will let you guys have a brief ranting session while I try and educate myself. So feel free to give them both barrels. I'll just have a quick look at what this says. Right.
I'm just doing some research too, having a little look at. You guys are all too smart for me. I come on these pods and I'm like, wow, these guys, they know what they're talking about. So I'm just gonna have a little research now.
Cool. Well, I'll hold this stream while you guys do some research then. So yeah, so what we've got here, all the highly intelligent people I've spoken to this week, the solicitor director all said it's pointing to exactly what's happened tonight. Jesus. Okay. I mean, yeah, basically, guys, we are just here to give people somewhere to go. The big man John is joining us. Excellent. Let's get John in here to hold the fort for a second while I do some research. John, are you there, mate?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, we
Hi,
can hear
John.
you, mate.
Well, everyone, what's the
John.
crack? I can't have my video on here. I'm on a break in work. I look like a big piece of shite because I normally look so glorious. But no, look, I fucking hell. I don't really have too much to add, like, but I just thought I'd pop in and, as I said, give everyone a big vocal hug. Like, lads, look, there's a lot of yous out there. I've had a load of phone calls. I've had a lot of messages over the past week, over the past 6 months, ever since sort of Black Sunday. And look, there's no point in acting the big man and not being emotional. This is fucking rough on everyone. And I suppose we're all saying it, and it's almost becoming cliche at this stage, but just to reiterate from probably a more familiar voice than most, look, just fucking speak to someone. If it needs to be me, send me a message. This is fucking devastating. We've all been fucked. You aren't a dickhead. We've all been fucked and we've all been led down this road. It was very easy to make the mistakes we all did. Don't blame yourself. There will be other opportunities in life. It's only money. You know, you might have overexposed yourself. It's easy to say it's only money. I understand that. It could be life-changing. But look, there genuinely are more important things. And it's about getting back up. And this is a fucking kick in the bollocks. There's no two ways about it. And I hope the cunts are brought to justice. I really do. But bottom line is, speak to someone. I'm seeing and hearing a lot of depressing stories. Speak to someone. Speak to one of your peers, speak to your family, speak to someone else. If you want to speak to me, because I'm a familiar voice, I'm here. I'll make time. I'm off next week, so let's have a chat. But yeah, that's it. It's pretty deep. It is deep. We're all saying it, but it's true. And I suppose every time someone says it, it might make someone more likely just to chat to someone and not fucking do something stupid. So yeah, I don't know. Just a big virtual hug.
No, absolutely, mate. And yeah, so just quick Google of sort of administration and stuff. So the number one thing I'd like everyone to think about for tonight is that the number one item on administration things is rescuing the company as a going concern. So that is the number one goal of any administration activity, is to maintain the company in some form of going concern by looking at restructuring the financial position. So hopefully it is a case of they have done this dividend thing. we've all told them to go fuck themselves. They've shit the bed and they pulled in the administrators as a form of panic to try and work out if there is a way that they can restructure the business into a way that it can be a onwards going concern that would also hopefully lead to change of leadership, obviously, because that's the massive thing that we want, or looking for a buyout of some description possibly. So these are all things that I think would be positive, and that the community has generally been looking for is change of leadership, some kind of buyout, or a general restructure. So there is, this is not definitively the guillotine dropping. This is just they've rolled it out. So let's keep it the powder dry for the moment, and let's not go too drastic with it, and let's just keep each other mood up, and let's talk about things and get ourselves up to speed with all this stuff as best as we possibly can, so we as a community as informed as we can be, and make sure as many other people that are in the community are as informed as can be. Please let everyone know on Discord, Facebook, whatever other chat groups you've got out there, because obviously not everyone is on Twitter. So as many people know that we're here to talk about this tonight. We will go till late. Anyone who wants to come on here to have a say is more than welcome to, even if it's just do what Addy did and just give them both barrels of the swear dictionary, because at least it will give us a cheap laugh. No worries, mate. At least it gives us a bit of a cheap laugh for 5 minutes. I think
I feel better. I feel a bit more relaxed now.
Good. And I think it is going to be gallows humour tonight, chaps. I don't know if you saw my cheap attempt at humour earlier with a bit of dodgy song lyrics on the timeline to try and cheer up everyone with things. So maybe we'll have whoever likes the lyrics with the most likes by the end of this stream come 1 a.m. or whatever it is. Whoever's left on the stream will have to sing that in their best impression to try and raise morale as a swan song as we leave.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. In regards, sorry, Mark, in regards to a buyout, I think, I don't know if this is like an unpopular opinion. I do think for someone who can come in and possibly buy it out, it's not the worst investment. I mean, yeah, the brand's probably done now. It is like, but I just think companies spend millions and millions and millions of pounds to get so many loyal. I mean, I don't know another company that has loyal customers like us. And I think companies spend millions and millions and millions of pounds to get what Football Index has. And I mean, I know it's shit at the moment, but I think someone could come in, and this is what I hope and pray. I mean, I've got quite a big chunk in there, which, to be honest, I'm not counting on anything coming back, but I just hope and pray that someone can come in and just see the vision and the potential that it has. And hopefully, that's what I'm clinging on to right now. That's what's sort of getting me through. Apart from my rants, I just hope someone can come in and see the potential and see how loyal we are and how good the product actually is. I mean, like, we've all enjoyed playing it, but we just need someone to come in and, I don't know, everything's going through my head right now. That's just one thing that's going through my head.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of lost sleep this evening as people's brains just go into sort of overdrive, really. So like I say, just to quickly reiterate, the primary goal of any administration is to make sure the company continues as a going concern. So that is the primary goal of this scenario. Hopefully they can find a way through this by changing the leadership. But, we have to keep monitoring this, and we will see the information as it comes out. I will be here anytime there is an announcement. So any announcements they do, I'll get on here and I'll give people a place to come and talk about these things and share any information that I can give. But I am not omniscient as much as I would love to be. So I can only share what I know, but I will always ask for anyone that is smarter or more knowledgeable than me in the particular areas to come and join us, and hopefully we'll get some people that will take us up on that. There's also some good stuff being shared in the chat boxes, which will give you some other information that I'm not giving you because I can't keep up with it all because it's loading so fast. But read the chat comments as well, because there's some good stuff by the looks of it in there that might help share some extra information. But yeah,
all I'm saying is Louis Tomlinson, get your wallet out, son. It's the right thing to do.
Maybe that's the way. Then maybe it's not a Football Index buyout of the community. Maybe it's a Louis buyout from the Louis Tomlinson community. Christ, and he said Louis Walsh. Then Jesus Christ. I did invite the Fig on tonight, Top Boy, but I think he's got other commitments that he just can't get out of. He sends his best to the community and he hopes that everyone's all right. He'll try and do something later in the week when he can actually get the opportunity to get some stuff out there. John was on briefly on his work break, so I'm sure he'll be on again if he gets another chance. So the invite will be there. I don't want to put it publicly because then you get all kinds of people that come on and just troll the shit out of it. But if you want to have a say, then just send me a message and I will send you the link and stuff so you can come on, say whatever the hell you want. Really, it's not up to me to control your sense of you. This is a platform of free speech for people to rant and rave as much as they want, whatever is cathartic and helpful to people, really.
It makes you feel better, trust me, guys. If you need to come on and just go mad, it does make you feel better. I do feel like a bit more chilled now. So, whew.
If Football Index was a real person, this kind of feels like it's the funeral for them. At a normal funeral, I would look back. I've been to many funerals, unfortunately, in my lifetime. But you all talk about the good memories that they gave you, the joys that they gave you. Is it too soon to do that? Or do we need to wait until a bit further down the line to remember the good times?
Yeah, I think you've got to wait till they're fully dead before you start going on about...
Yeah, they're on life support at the moment, basically. That's where we are. So we're not quite at the funeral swan song just yet. We need to find a fat lady to sing, really, don't we? I wonder if we've got any of those. Oh, Jesus Christ.
If anyone knows, obviously I'm not really clever with this, so at the end they said that the administrators will release a statement upon their formal appointment by the court, which is anticipated to be in the next 10 days. So in the next 10 days, do we find out something?
Yes, well, we should do. Yeah, that's the thing. The problem is that basically, like all things with these things, that is probably the usual legal required timeline for things, but so many things generally drift outside of those timescales. But yes, I would hope that we would be hearing something within the next 10 days that would give a lot more clarity around the situation and where we are and where we all sit.
I just a thought that came into my mind as well. Yeah. It didn't really bother me so much that they were collecting bets up until they suspended the market last week, because in my mind, it doesn't matter when they suspended the market, they will be collecting bets up to that point anyway. So there's always going to be that accusation thrown at them. People have been spending money up to that point, so whether they put the cutoff in when the market closed, people were spending up to the deadline, or they done it at 6 o'clock and people were just buying up till 6 o'clock. People were always buying. It's the fact that in the last week, they basically just decided that they can't pay out anymore. And at that point of the announcement last week is really when this announcement should have been made. they should have at that point saying we can't take trading on anymore. So if we're looking at why is this body on life support machine or whatever, you're looking back harder to get to that point. What's happened to me, as I said, the last week of allowing people to place bets, knowing that in the background they were talking to administrators, they were looking at finance. They shouldn't have released the new dividend structure. That should have been, we are suspending the market and we are bringing people in at that point.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
It absolutely is ridiculous. Has anyone got access to the Cedars stuff? Because I swear there was something on that. Somebody sent me a bit of it that was there about the Cedars investors calling them out and stuff. But there was something about they'd just done another funding drive on Cedars just before Christmas. So, but either nobody invested in that, or where the fuck did that money go? Was that money just to buy them another month? Like it beggars belief the number of opportunities they've had to make decisions that would have allowed it to not get to this point, and they have failed at every single fucking junction to make those decisions, and even just basic common sense decisions of just, oh Christ, okay, people will be shut with DMs. Let's see what we've got. Sorry, so evening, you've probably already read this by now, but in short, they'll go into administration, try to restructure the company and look at options going forward. This is done by the administrators, not the board, as they effectively take control of management of the business. A buyout may be one of those options, but it is not a guarantee. The administrators will do what they can to protect creditors, but worst case scenario is they cannot save the company and it may go through the liquidation process. This will involve liquidating assets and then dissolving the company. The market will then have to be suspended, financial movements, deposits, etc. cease, as they'll pretty much turtle up for the time being until the administrators get into it. So everything is going to be frozen while the administrators make their mind up about exactly what they need to do. The administrators' primary goal is to maintain the ongoing operations of the company in some form. So hopefully that will be the outcome. So we are a long way from complete liquidation yet, but it's going to be a very painful time because we're probably going to get very limited information about what is going on in the coming days, weeks. So we are just going to have to stick together as a community and, share as much information as we can possibly get to each other to keep each other as informed as possible. But yeah, it's not a good time at all, guys. It is about as worse an outcome as we could have been at this sort of point. But like I said, it is not definitive. It is not absolutely dead. There is let's not do drastic things this evening. There is still ways back from this precipice. We just need to hope that either like a Paddy Power or a Betfair or somebody fancies dipping their toe in this, because it has been a massive thing. I think if they were to be bought out by someone of that caliber, the issues around the brand are wiped away because it demonstrates that they've got the backing of somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing. So I think that would resolve things. Whatever happens out of this, I would have thought that the leadership will be gone in all forms of things. MC Noir, what would you think the thoughts on whether withdrawals of the last 24 and 48 hours would be honoured? Mate, I honestly don't know, because I don't know exactly how that price goes. I hope that they're going to be honoured, because I've got 250 quid sitting in limbo at the moment and I would very much like that back. But yeah, I honestly don't know, because I don't know if it's just they start the bank process, or I know it's not sitting on my balance when I cashed it out 2 days ago, but I don't know if it's stuck in the financial waves at the moment, or if it is just it was meant to be refunded and they've now locked it as an asset and it will sit there for the next 6 months. I honestly don't know. I think the only way we're going to learn that is over the coming 3 or so days, where people, if you guys get your refunds back, try and stick them on the timeline so people can see, I pulled my money at this date, it actually made it to my account, or I pulled my money on this date, it didn't make to my account. And that will give us a yardstick of where any cutoff point of that transaction actually was. So we can then share that information as widely as possible. So tag me and put the Football Index Twitter thing on it, so that if you're getting that money back in, I'll share with people if I get my 250 quid back from the refund that I requested. So
I want my 4p back. I've got 4p in cash balance, and that's my 4p, and I want it back.
So extra information posted to me. It could be a longish process. We'll probably get updates from the administrators periodically. Somebody's worked with them before, and these processes can go on and on and on. They take a long time. Right.
Hopefully the very public nature of it, you know, as much as I kind of bemoaned some of the recent interventions by the media, hopefully if there is that public pressure, the administrators might be a bit more forthcoming with information. And I'm also, I know I've mentioned the example of Rangers earlier. That is my go-to for administration and liquidation. I believe that when they went into administration originally, it was on the basis of a legal fight with HMRC, which they may or may not have won. And if they had won that, then they would have been able to come out of an administration. But because they lost, they couldn't. So again, I'm just throwing this out there. I may be completely wrong, but I wonder in the background if Football Index have taken legal advice and you know, just bearing in mind everything has happened and people talking about lawsuits and all that, that taking all that information into account, they've just said we'll go into administration until we know the outcome of X, Y, and Z, and take it from there, and let someone, because we've all, you know, me, I've been a big shooter, a bit one of Mike Bowen and co no longer being in charge, and this default to them no longer being in charge. I think you said that earlier, Stu, that it'll be handed over to the administrators to decide. So maybe from my perspective, I'm getting what I want. They no longer are in charge, but they're doing this because they're not sure if they will win or lose. So it may not be the end. It could be the end. You know, there's obviously a lot going on there, but I think that it could be positive. I'm just rambling now. Sorry. There's so many, again, as last week, there's so many thoughts going in my head. I can't really get them straight.
At least it's out of their hands now. It's out of Football Index. They can't steal another penny from any of us now. So if something good's gonna come out of it, you know, there's nothing that any of the, you know, Mike Bowen or Adam Cole, they can't take another penny from us now. It's out of their hands, and hopefully it's going to be done in a way that's, well, I say benefits all of us, but you know, we get either someone buys it out or hopefully we get something back. But like I say, I'm happy that it's out of FI's control now. That's the one thing that I'm like, yeah, something good's come out of it.
I think it'll be really interesting to see if everything does shut down, if Index Labs keeps going, because there is no way that company makes any money, because it's not selling anything, not producing anything. It's just making a software or whatever it's called. So if they are able to continue, then surely that has to show that the money from FI is going there, because that cannot be. Those guys on like 100Ks a year or whatever. That can't be coming out of someone's back pocket.
Yeah. Oh, well,
depending on the company structure and which way they've broken down into different subsidies and whatnot.
Guys, everyone's shouting for Yavi in the chat. Yavi is now on the call. So Yavi,
oh God,
unmute yourself, mate. Come give us both
here
barrels.
we go.
Good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Probably a rhetorical question right now, but yeah, it's a shame that
It's
I can't
Adam
be
Cole's
joining.
brother.
Mate, I'm Caramel Cole. That's what they call me. But it's probably not a good time to be joking about Mr. Cole and Mr. Bowen fucking us all over and leaving on a private jet to Jersey or somewhere probably a lot warmer than that. It's a sad day for the index. It's a sad last 2-3 years, I've got to say. To be honest, I haven't seen any football since Friday's announcement. I don't particularly want to watch any football now. They've kind of killed the game as well as the platform at the same time. You know, obviously that will come back in time, but just, do you know what? I've thought about this and like said it in a WhatsApp group that I'm in with a couple of the other the other lads, that if they'd have come out and just been honest about their position last week or a couple of weeks ago or a month ago and just owned it and just said to us, look, you know, we might have overcommitted or we have overcommitted. Let's just like have a reset. It's going to be a tough 6 months, 9 months, however long, and actually just took us with them on this, you know, difficulty that they're facing. At the end of it, having that customer engagement would have been able to see them through. But they thought, do you know what? And I think it's calculated. Like, you know, stupidity might have got them in this situation, but then like the cold, callous nature that they've handled it since has just, you know, just fucked everybody over. And they've just like disappeared, you know, away from the community, stepped back and just hid behind their statements that, you know, it's politician level written, just doesn't have any meaning to it. And that's the saddest part of all. Like, there's always divisions within the community, like one side versus another side versus like, you know, different trading strategies and then like people liking and disliking and falling out with each other. But ultimately, you know, we're all just lads and like ladies who just want to watch football, make some money from it and just enjoy it. And they've just completely fucked that in the space of what seems like a week. The writing was on the wall for so many months because continuous business, like fuck up after fuck up after fuck up, has got us here. And we defended them, and we were their biggest apologists to a certain degree. And they completely pulled the wool over our eyes. So it's a sad day for everyone, to be honest with you. And just to say, like, I know I've been talking for a little bit now. The only thing that I will add, the people that I've spoken to today, from solicitors to directors of businesses, have said to me when I've explained to them, you know, how the timeline has gone, especially over the last like couple of weeks, they've said to me that, to be honest with you, like this has got all the hallmarks of insolvency. So the fact that this has happened today hasn't surprised me. And I just hope that, you know, liquidators, whoever they are, creditors can just come in, take it over and just try and make it work as a business. Because people call it a Ponzi scheme. I called it a Ponzi scheme when I first joined, like, because I didn't have a fucking clue what I was talking about. But this business did have legs, but it was just completely shafted by the people that ran it, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, like, when it had instant sell, if anything they were saying was in the most bit true about their announcements, where they said that the average lifespan of a share on the index was 2 weeks. The spreads on those things, you could calculate all of that and you could show that there was definitely no way they were losing money, because if you were trading something, flipping something every 2 weeks, they were getting more commission than you were making on dividends, barring some very clever trading on a few exceptions. And with those spreads and things like the Neymar injuries, where that would cause a crash and they'd widen the spread and everyone would cash their Neymar shells back in like 2 days after buying them, all of those things would just build their balance. It's only since order books came in that it's all gone absolute tits up.
You got to think though, how much, like in terms of a time span, there's a lot of things that we've seen that we've apologized for over the last 6 months of mistake after mistake after mistake. But you got to think in terms of the background, how long has this been going on for? Because you can spin a line to look positive. Then eventually you end up digging yourself into that grave quicker and quicker and quicker. And I suppose that's what, and don't get me wrong, it's really easy to say this like with hindsight and everything like that. And, you know, some of the more intelligent people probably got out sooner than us. And, you know, that fair play to them, all credit to them for actually looking at it, you know, in a very, I suppose, you know, cold view of this is what the situation is. I need to get out because of it. But yeah, like you never know what's been going on in the background. That's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing that hurts the most, I think.
Yeah,
So,
but can I ask you, because you've said there obviously, and I agree to a large extent, if they were forthright and honest and said, look, this is the position where we're in a few months ago, do you not also think if they had done that, we would have seen a mass exodus from the market of people panicking and had an earlier crash?
To be honest, it's no different than what we've seen now. But at least they could have just held their heads up. And like even today, just having like a few back and forths on Twitter, there's still even today people wanting to stay on the platform because it adds to their enjoyment of football, makes it better for them, and they can't see their lives without it. So you would get the initial people who would leave, you would get the people who'd be pissed off and carry on, and you get the people who just remain loyal, continue with it, be pissed off, vocalize that, but at least they would have owned it to a certain degree. But I mean, it's died anyway. That's the thing.
yeah.
Handling it in this way.
So one bit of good news for everyone is, and if I'm wrong, guys, just don't tell me, because hopefully this will cheer everyone up. As I understand it, the way administrations work, if you're a director or shareholder or something like that, and you take out a massive sum of cash moments before you go to administration, they can rope that cash back into the administration calculation, because you can't just take your money and run and leave all your creditors and everyone in the lurch. So there is legal proceedings that prevent that from happening. So if this does go the distance, then Adam Cole won't be sitting on a beach with millions of pounds. They'll go after any money he's taken off to put himself on a yacht, and they'll retrieve that back in to pay everyone off. So when I say everyone, I don't necessarily mean us. I mean the staff, and I mean the banks and whoever else they owe money to will be down the pecking order, but at least he won't make off with several million quid. So bear that in mind, and that might help you sleep a bit tonight.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He's a cunt.
I'll tell you something, and I've seen it in the chat. He's the biggest nonce on this platform, Adam Cole. There you go. That's for everyone in the chat who's asked for it. Probably get some legal repercussions from that, but what are they going to sue me for? They've got my money already.
Yeah, exactly. As men of straw, you can do many things because they can't come at you for anything, because there's nothing to come for. Oh, Yavi, everyone's just giving you a lot of love, saying that you're very articulate this evening.
I know I've been called a Tory, which is so far from the truth, but I suppose that's a compliment to Tories in some degree, despite being more hated than Adam Cole.
Oh dear. I was just reading some of these comments, see if there's anything interesting coming up on the timeline. We're now getting demands for your face, a live stream version of yourself.
Oh, mate. Lockdown has not been good to me. Hence this picture, which was the last good look that you'll have for a long time.
Have you seen me on these live streams? Do you think that I look like a picture perfect individual?
Mate, you have hair, and that means a lot. Trust me.
Far too bloody much of it at the moment, I can tell you that. Christ, I can't wait to get that all chopped off. Cal, you've been quiet for a bit. What do you want to say, mate?
I'm just going to reiterate what I said earlier, really. There's another 200 people on since last time I said it. So, guys, we're all linked by a common thing. We've all been fucked. So if you do have any differences, just put them aside and help each other out. Speak. Don't hold it in. It's way better out than in. And any emotion you're feeling, someone will help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a time for the community to come together and do what Football Index can't, and that's support each other, share information, help each other out, be there, listen, talk to people. As I said, any announcements or information we get, I will get on here as fast as I can to share them and try and explain them to the best of my ability, get the information out there, give people a platform. Try and decide whether I'm still going to do the one tomorrow, which was going to be a bit of light-hearted banter about stuff. I was going to get people to talk about whether Gerrard should stay at Rangers if he managed to win the Europa League. I haven't actually looked tonight. How are our Rangers doing? Has anyone actually looked at the football this evening?
See, that's the thing that's ruined us. You know, like I love. Well, I know I'm only speaking for me. Like my love for football is just not the same. The last lot of fixtures, I didn't even look. And I'm a Bournemouth fan. We don't even play in a PB league. And even when we played the other day, I was like, oh, do you know what? I just can't be asked even looking.
Yeah, no, I do get it. Like it has kind of killed the joy of the game at the moment a bit, hasn't it? I mean, Liverpool performances aren't doing me much favours of my enjoyment of football, but at least we picked up a win last night. Yeah,
That's the thing as well. With like Champions League nights, especially with crowds and stuff like that, you know, Champions League nights are special nights. And it's just like even last night when you've got PSG playing Barcelona, and it's just like I can't even put it on just to see like Mbappe score and you have him in your port, and you know, it's like dying 1,000 deaths and we finally died. There you go. There's my philosophy for the evening.
Yeah, I mean, did anyone see the Messi goal last night? That was bloody nice, wasn't it? It still couldn't score from 10 yards. He's got a shocking penalty rating.
I missed the football. Well, I missed the first half of it because, like the guys are saying, there just isn't that interest in it. And the other week, I watched all of the PSG Barcelona game, and then last night was just after half time. I switched it on, and then tonight I had the United match on in the background with no commentary, and the Arsenal match on with no commentary. It's not the same. It's you know, you're not counting the passes. You're not going, there's a cross, there's a chance created. The whole impact that football had on you is just diminished completely.
So I'm going to answer a quick question in the chat. Ash, cash balances, they are locked through the entire administration process. So we won't be seeing anyone that is sitting still on the index for some time. If it's stuff that you've withdrawn and it's sitting in limbo, I've got some guys that have messaged me saying that if they withdrew on Sunday, they got the cash yesterday. I don't know if anyone's withdrawn on Monday and seen that cash come back yet. But yeah, we're going to start hitting up some messages on the timeline of Twitter to try and share so we can find out where that window is. If you did hit the withdraw button, whether it gets locked up or whether that does continue to flow out. So we're not sure on exactly what happens with that side of it, but the stuff that is sitting in your account as a as a withdrawal option, that will not be available for the entire administration process. Perlo, thanks, mate. I don't know if I'm really a posh tart, but yeah, cheers for the feedback. Duly noted. I think we need to get Perlo on here. Everyone spam him until he comes on because he keeps heckling from the stands, and I want to get him on here to come and have a rant with the rest of us. But yeah, to summarise back to where we were earlier, we were talking about this. So the primary goal of any administration is to ensure the survival and the ongoing concern of a company. So the primary goal of this administration process would make sure that Football Index survived. The board are no longer in control. The administrators will make all of the decisions and take all of the actions. So that is now out of Bowen's hands, out of Adam Cole's hands. They have no further say on what happens. Zach, administration process, I don't know. I'll go and do some research tomorrow around like these Debenhams ones and stuff like that to try and get an idea of what the general time span is. But I think it's like months, mate. I don't think it's a quick process. I would say it's 10 days to even hear whether the administrators have been formally appointed. I imagine it's at least a couple of months of them getting in to assess and crawl all over the finances and all the liabilities and all the assets to assess it. Because I mean, I've done asset valuations before. That took me 2-3 months with a team to assess what the valuations of the assets held by the company I was working for. That wasn't for a liquidation of it. It was just a simple asset valuation for a selling opportunity. But we spent a good 2-3 months working out the exact valuation of all the assets we held. You've actually not seen anything before then. Hey, Stu, have you only, no, Alistair, I did do a few things way back about 2-3 years ago when I was selling data to people for a couple of quid in a spreadsheet. People might remember that. Then my daughter came along, and I kind of took a step back from everything because that was my number one priority. John inspired me with Black Sunday by going live for the community in the darkest hour of the time. So I dialed onto that, spoke to the community, and I felt that it was important that somebody in the community should always be available for when these sort of things happen. And as the news has got darker and worse over the last few months, I found it's more and more important that somebody is there. And it seems that I'm the only person that's daft enough to make sure I'm available when the shit really hits the fan. So I don't blame the other guys. Somebody's saying they were due on Tuesday and they've got their cash. So that's the latest withdrawal date I've heard so far. Somebody was due on 150 on the 8th, got it on the 10th. I've just checked, I got my 250 quid back. So that's something at least. So yeah, it is now research mode, guys. It's go and find out what you can, see if anyone you know works in these sort of things. I actually work in an accountancy firm, so I'll see if I can grill my colleagues tomorrow in the sort of tax and accountancy things, if anyone's done this sort of thing before, and give us some idea of timescales. Can I dress up like Stato from Fantasy Football League on the next stream? If you can get me a photo of what the hell Stato from the Fantasy Football League stream looks like, then I will see if I can dress up like him. Haven't heard of Frog. I'll see if I can get hold of him. I'm just getting heckled in the tweets now, in the chat now. It's just non-stop. Everyone go after Perlo. You go and find Perlo and you drag him onto this stream and tell him to stop heckling from a distance and to get on here. So everyone go and spam Perlo for me. That could be your new favourite hobby. Stop heckling me in the tweets.
Tell Pirlo to come on, because I'll miss stealing his screenshots and pretending that they were mine. He always took that in good faith and in good banter. So it'd be good to actually speak to him and hear his voice.
You know what he's posted on Twitter now? He's posted the bloody Statler and Waldorf Muppets that sit in the heckle box. that's what he's implying. He's sitting there doing.
The fact that you don't know who Stato is shows how young you are. I have to say, anyone who's a '90s kid knows who Stato is.
Born in 1985, mate.
85. Oh my god! Wow. Okay. How do you not know who he is? That's craziness.
I'm a 90s kid. Who's Stato?
87. Never heard of him.
Oh god, you guys have missed the whole generation of football. Like way back in the day when there was no Sky TV. Actually, no. I think Sky was kicking off then. Like used to have. I think it was on Saturday nights. You had Baddiel and Skinner. And Stato.
I remember Baddiel and Skinner.
Yeah. So Stato was on that show. It was like 11 o'clock at night, like on ITV, like way back in the day in the 90s. And he was like in the corner with like his glasses on. Can't remember what his name was though. I think he was oh no, completely escapes me what his name was. But yeah, he definitely had an interesting look about him, that was for sure. You don't look anything like him, by the way.
No, I just had a quick Google, and yeah, I don't have the massive round glasses for a start.
Yeah.
You can borrow mine. Here we go.
But yeah, no, I'm sorry, chaps. I've no idea who Stato is, but I do know what Noel's house party is. If you want proof of how old I am, Mr. Blobby and all that.
Best character on Noel's house party, Mr. Blobby.
Oh dear, but yeah. Somebody's saying they're going to send me some images from what solicitors are saying if you're getting stuff like that, so I can share it. But yeah, get the thing out there. Divvy, you're a smart chap. If you're listening, mate, do you know any more detail about these sort of things that you could come and share with us by jumping on for 5 minutes, or is it not quite your area of expertise? But yeah, if you're there, mate, and you fancy jumping on. Basically, guys, what I'd like you to do is pick who you want from the community to come on and just poke them with a stick and see if we can get them to come on, just for a bit of fun. See how many people we can get. I'm just going to quickly check and see if I can get hold of Frog and see if he's all right.
I think as well, like it's great to have a platform like this, for us to actually be able to connect and speak to each other on, because I think there's like, and you know, somebody who's very controversial from the outside of our community, obviously Khan,
Yeah.
Mr. Berry. He put a video together that I saw earlier on, and he made a really good point on it, actually, saying, you know, there'll be a lot of people who are on their own, who have lost a lot of money, who don't necessarily have family and friends around them. And obviously, we're in lockdown at the moment, and you can't really just like travel and see people as you used to be able to. And if they like can tune into to a YouTube channel or a stream or a podcast and just like, you know, listen to us talking and just get involved in the conversation, so they don't feel like they're on their own, I think that's a really good outlet for them to just like feel that they've got, you know, somebody listening to them and on the same page as them. Because it, you know, like everyone, well, I was going to say everyone's overextended, but there'll be a lot of people, excuse me, that were massively overextended, not just from like selling the dream, but just seeing like good trading, increasing the portfolio value, making more money, getting dividends, reinvesting, compounding, and all of those sort of things. And then through no fault of their own, I think that's probably the biggest thing to take away. Through no fault of your own, it's just fallen to pieces. And, you know, most of us are in the same boat when it comes to, we put way too much in, and now, you know, we're kind of suffering from it. But at least, you know, to a certain degree, we've got each other and we can talk about it. And I think I read in the comments earlier that there'll be a reunion in like 5 years' time, and we'll, you know, take the piss about how FI fucked us over.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe with a bonfire, maybe on bonfire night with a nice couple of effigies on top, eh? But yeah, no, it's just it's pretty dark times, isn't it? Anyone feel they can hold the stream for 5 minutes while I go and get the wine? Because everyone always loves it when I go and crack out a nice New Zealand Sauvignon. So
5 minutes? Where are you getting it from? New Zealand?
I'm in the bloody loft, mate. I've got to go down like 3 flights of fucking stairs to go and get it.
Mate, you clearly not lost enough money. That's for sure. If you've got three floors where you are.
I've been very clear on this platform, that I am actually one of the lucky ones. I took out a big chunk of money out of the index back in May 2019 to pay for this loft extension. So I am actually one of the lucky few, and that's why I feel a duty of care. And while I do these things is because I'm one of the lucky ones that actually benefited from Football Index. So I will be here till the last to give people someone to talk to, because, you know, I got out very luckily compared to everyone else. So
I'm going down with the ship. I'm on the hull sinking. Everything I've got's in there. I'm just sinking with the last. I'm hanging on for dear life.
You the captain of the ship?
I'm not a captain. I'm one of the passengers, mate. And I'm there. I know it's going down, and I'm too stubborn. I was too stubborn to take anything out. I thought, you know, I always had hope, and now I'm still there, just hanging on, knowing that it's going. What can I do?
The one thing is, though, if this was a Tony Cruise ship, it would still be going. That's for sure.
Oh, right. Hang on. Let's have a quick look. Somebody's just said Bet Index is what's gone into administration. So I'm just going to have a quick look on, see if I can find anything on Companies House about Bet Index.
You'll probably find about 5 different entities that they've like rolled from one into another, and it's just this tangled web of shite. The other thing is as well, like I was watching The Big Short the other day, and it feels like being on the other side of it, where everyone, like, the bottom falls out and you just lose a load of money, instead of being on the other side of it where you're actually making it.
It's off. You can check the one next door.
Is the setting different?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Has everyone got the actual Companies House company number for Bet Index? Because when I'm looking, I'm not seeing any live company for Bet Index.
It should be there. See if he's probably searched for Adam Cole. His name will come up.
True.
To find all the connected companies.
There'll be about 50 of them, so you might have to sift through a solid number of them.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, there are quite a lot of bloody Adam Coles, aren't there? Right, let's try Index Labs and find him in there, and then work our way back out from that point round.
Or Mike Bowen, probably less connected to other companies. I think it's funny you said about the big short and being on the other side of it. you know, that's definitely how I feel now. You know, the market going up, 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 and then I was taking all these bets against it. Oh, it's just going to keep going up and up, and then suddenly now it's all came crashing down, and you're having to to find the
Count the losses.
count the losses is definitely one thing. Yeah, I still think I'm still flabbergasted by what's happened tonight. See, if you spoke to me about 4 hours ago, I was speaking away to customers. I was just speaking away to everyone, and it seems when I come on these podcasts, like the other week when I come on myself street, and I'm lost for words every single time.
Yeah.
The words escape me. I know what I want to say. I can't get them out because I'm so fucking annoyed. But yeah, no, you're talking about The Big Short, and that's what I was speaking to my mum, and I was cycling, and I was like, I need to speak to people about what's happened, and I took a load of heart in what you guys were saying the other week about speaking to people and mental health and everything, and there's stuff that's happened to me in my life, which I don't really particularly want to go into, but take a load of heart from it. And I spoke to my wife, and then today I was cycling, I spoke to my mum, and I said, Mum, you know, I've had this money in, and it's now worth about 150 quid. And the first thing she goes, fuck! And my man doesn't curse. And I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. She goes, you know, Mark, look, you know, can you make your bills still? I was like, thankfully, yes, I can. He goes, well, as long as you make your bills, don't worry about it. That's the most important thing. So
Yeah, man.
it's a point we've echoed a few times tonight and on Twitter and everywhere else. Talk and get it out. And if you are having difficulty, there's so many places that can help you. You know, Citizens Vice, Debt Charity, gambling charities. Please talk.
On that note, I put a tweet out the other day saying, I don't know if any of you follow me on Twitter. I'm quite vocal about people's mental health. I don't know how many of you know. I lost my brother due to mental health, so it's quite a important thing for me. I always post stuff on the timeline saying, you know, talk to me, talk. And my inbox was full of people. Honestly, on the first Friday, I think I did a tweet saying, you know, if you're going for anything, talk to me. And honestly, I had maybe like 50 different people all saying like, oh, what's going on? And just get your anger out and just talk to someone who's in the same position as you. I felt embarrassed talking to my family. I still haven't, I know I really shouldn't be saying this, but I'm just being honest and open with you guys. I haven't told my family. I'm too embarrassed to tell my family. I've told like a couple of friends. I know I shouldn't feel embarrassed because, like I say, this isn't everyone watching. What you've done isn't, you've not lost money from bad trading. You've lost money which is out of your, you know, out of your control. Whether you put in £100 or £100,000, what happened is out of your control. And I just want to be like open and honest. I was embarrassed to tell my, and I still am. My parents don't know. They know I have money in Football Index. They've often said, you know, like, how's it getting on? And I just go, oh yeah, okay. And I was embarrassed. But chatting to people in my DMs has made it will help you, but it will also help me as well, because I just feel like I said, we're all in this together. We understand. Me telling my parents, they fully won't understand, whereas traders, they know the feeling, they know, you know, that feeling of not being able to, watching your port basically die and it's out of your hands. There's nothing you can do. So like I said, I just want to, I know we always talk about mental health, and I think after losing my brother, I really, really want to push it. If anyone needs to talk, not just my DMs, a friend's DM, anyone on this pod, just talk to anyone, because it is really, really important. Even if you don't feel down, just get it out of your system. And we do understand, like I say, we're all in this together. So just talk about it or tweet about it or just do anything. Just don't keep it bottled up. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And if you look at any of my tweets, guys, there's a few that have been out there recently which got some links to the NHS IAPT services, which is improving access to psychological therapies. My wife works for that service. They do cognitive behavioural therapies. It's all free. It's really good stuff. It really helps deal with the root causes of anything, depression, anxiety, all of that side of things. But yeah, absolutely. The key thing here is, you know, this isn't your fault. You know, you just have to read some of the stuff the Athletic guy's been putting up today about some of the narratives that we have been sold by Football Index continuously over this period, that tell you exactly where everything and everyone's head was at. You know, there's nothing that was implying anything even mildly concerning. And, you know, the first sign they had of anything being awry, they should have like adjusted dividends even minorly, just to give people a warning shot across the bow and buy themselves some more time, rather than just kid themselves and try this bollocks around. Oh, just keep carrying on at the highest rate that we can go at for as long as humanly possible and hope that somehow it's all going to magically work its way out. That is just insane, to go into that effect.
And the thing is, as well, the two, I mean, the one thing that they did, well, the one thing they did do and the one thing that they didn't do, they didn't own their mistakes. And, you know, all of us in business, in our professional lives, make mistakes all the time. And, you know, if they were to come out and have said, not just necessarily with what's happened over the past week, but in the wrong decisions that they've made multiple of over the last 3, 6, 9 months, and owned some of those, that would have had a massive help. And then secondly, as well, they treated traders like shit for a very, very, very long time. Like, you know, you don't have to, you know, bow to everything that we want on Twitter or on the Facebook group or, you know, on like big time podcasts or anything like that. You need to stand your position as a business. And it's, if sometimes it pisses people off, then it's going to piss people off, and that's fine. But you're doing it for the greater good and the long term, the actual long term stability of your product, of your business, and of your platform. But the fact that they were just like, they put a couple of account managers forward, had a few Q&A sessions with like certain traders, and it's like, that's all lip service. If you're not actually going to take that feedback and act on it, and if you're going to treat us like idiots almost, then your business model, especially when it's people based or like individual based, then of course it's going to fall to pieces. And it's really easy to say that now because we've got the hindsight of it now falling to pieces. But those are the two big things that they did do and didn't do that really stand out now, I think.
Especially when you put that in the context of the dividend review. They put the dividend review out and people complained. There was a backlash about it. And then they came out with higher dividends. You know, if they had the backbone, they should have said, no, we will stand by this. We might lose a few punters, but it is for the longevity of the platform. And if trading dipped, they may well have the reserves to do the 5 times IPD at that point to try and get people back in. But they've made certain decisions which are, you know, right now highly questionable, especially in recent times.
And also that, like I was thinking about this the other day. There's never been an extended period of peace, like even a month or 6 weeks or 2 months, where things are just the same. There's just a bit of continuity. Nothing crazy has happened, like, you know, like an announcement that's thrown something off, or even an announcement that's shot stuff up artificially. Just like an extended period of just, you know, MB, PB, and that's it. And you just go about your trading. There's always something shiny that they just throw in for you to. And I think one of the other big things that they did that really, really hurt the market was removing IPDs. Not from a business standpoint, because we obviously now know how much it was eating into you know the money that they had, but more so giving traders who had heavy IPD based portfolios 30 days, and like literally overnight it was worthless. And it's that sort of changing the bet at such drastic levels that, you know, makes you lose trust and makes you think they're not listening to us or they don't care. And also that window of changing IPD to, yeah, we've got something new coming. 1 week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, 3, 4, and then it's like we'll just bleed everything until the very last minute. Excuse me, before we actually implement something. Didn't seem like a roadmap. Didn't seem like something that we were all working towards. And yeah, because they didn't take us on that journey, that's why now, you know, so it seems like it's no more.
Stu, I've sent you Adam Cole's company's house.
Yeah, I managed to find that, mate.
but
But it
I want to
doesn't
back
seem to.
we're just back onto Yavi's point a sec. So when they do that dividend review and they come out saying this is what we got, and then the community don't like it, when they then come out with increased, we don't see the financials of the company. We think, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they can afford this. If they come out to us and said, look, like this is the dividend increase because this is all we can afford right now, then that's accepted. You take that. But
And the other side is we've got short memories as well. Like a bad dividend increase, you know, it might be around for a little bit, but like you said, Cal, 100%. If they give it context, give it reasoning, you know, not necessarily open the books to us, but say, look,
Exactly.
you know, this is affordable, sustainable, and this is how we want to progress, then it's understandable. You know, people will be pissed off. We're pissed off at everything. Like, you know, a simple conversation turns into a massive argument on Twitter. But like, you're right, 100%. You just manage the expectation and see it for the long term.
Manage expectations a fantastic word there, because I think in and around the time, it might have been beforehand or slightly after, when that dividend table came out, did Adam Cole not say we're going to £1 billion market cap? And then they released that dividend table and people went, no, we're not. So the expectations were mismanaged one way or another. And possibly that's why Adam Cole stepped away from doing the Q&As at the time. But there's definitely a conflict, or it's a confusing, two diametrically opposed messages that were coming out. This is sustainable for the company, but yet we're going to go to £1 billion market cap. You can't do both at the same time. It's just not possible.
Oh Jesus, Charlie, please tell me you're not serious. Well, no, Charlie, if you actually bought shares, because if you bought shares, it's worse than if you haven't bought shares. If your money is sitting in your cash accounts, they are locked and siphoned away. In the result of the worst case scenario, people will get that money back, but it's going to be locked up for a good few months. The price of the shares, it's all very grey. I'm getting a lot of messages from different people around the stuff that you have in the bets side of the administrations of things, of like, if it is a bet, while it's an active bet, it needs to be held in a certain way, and you'll get your cash, your stake back if it goes into administration stuff. Football Index sits in this very grey area, and I don't think the legislation is aligned to understand the situation of what kind of bet or activity it is that the shareholding is. So it's very unclear as to how that will all play out. Yeah, it's up in the air. I just want to say a quick thank you to FI Paper Luigi, because he's been feeding me a lot of this legal blurb that I've been reading out on occasion. So massive thank you to you, mate, to sharing all this information, which is really useful. So I was just going to quickly read it out again to people. They're going to go to administration and to try and restructure the company and look at the options for going forwards. This is always done by the administrators, not the board, as they effectively can take control of the business, the management, business assets, everything. So Cole and Bowen are no longer in charge. They are done. It is in the hands of the administrators. A buyout may be one of these options, but it is not guaranteed. Administrators will do what they can to protect the creditors, but worst case scenarios, they cannot save the company, and it may go through the liquidation process, which would involve dissolving the assets and the company. So we have a long journey ahead of us where they work out all of these different aspects, and what the things are. Oh, great. Somebody's giving me the information. Apparently the cash balances, cash deposits being secure is not accurate information. Not sure about that. Like I said, it's all a bit vague in there because of the nature of how Football Index operate and where they sit within all these things. I think the Gambling Commission needs to be dragged over the coals, and I think one of these petition things going around, somebody needs to do one about a serious review into the Gambling Commission and their complete failure in their job here around Football Index, because that's where it is. Yeah, maybe that's the way we make some money back, Garrett, is get a Netflix documentary and all the profits of that can go to the Football Index survivors. So everyone can get some money out of the Netflix documentary. So Chris Crowther, if the administrators, they could appoint a new board, it's not a guaranteed thing. You'd think after this level of categorical failure, they would, the shareholders would insist in a change of management due to the complete clusterfuck that is where we are today. Charlie, I don't think there is any information other than the info on the app and the statement on Twitter. All right, Charlie's not at the live point of the stream. Oh, Jesus. Do they review 6 month manual? I have no idea what rate the Gambling Commission look into things. Obviously, we know that Football Index have been holding back on submitting their I've got an Irish reporter messaging me wanting to know if there's any Irish users he can speak to about the FI collapse. So if anyone's Irish and wants to talk to a reporter about the collapse, just ping me a message and I'll pass on your details to the reporter chap.
Evening, Stu. Can I just say a couple of bits just while you're having a little chat out there? Just evening, everyone. I know it's another shock announcement. All I can say is we've been talking a lot about mental health tonight, and the best thing I can say is just get a routine, get something back in your life. Like last weekend, it was my weekend off, and my God, we all suffered. You know, I probably didn't sleep a wink. These forums and what we did on these podcasts really helped sort of me divulge what was the next steps. The best thing I can say I've had this week is I've been at work all week. I've done 12-hour shifts. And you know what? I've not even looked at football. I've not looked at the index. I've not worried. I've barely checked my cash balance. And yeah, we all know it's not a good position right now. But if you're sitting there on furlough, you know what? In the morning, get up, make your bed, go for a run, do something in the routine that takes your mind off this absolute monstrosity. Because I tell you what, I have never been more hungry to get to work, put on my suit and crack on. And even in the short term, think I'm going to save so much money now to try and counter this deficit that I could lose. But failing that, do you know what? It's taken my mind off it. And the best thing going through Twitter is just the amount of love that's outpouring from this community. If anyone wants to buy out this company, they're going to look at it and go, wow, this base is so passionate. There's something here with legs. There's something that can really run with it. So I just wanted to jump on before I was going to go back to bed, is just basically get a routine, start talking to people. I know Addy was saying he hasn't spoken to his family. I'm very fortunate. I told my partner and my mum literally on day one I was investing. So they've gone through the whole journey of my highs of going, oh, I've made £1,000 profit on Grealish, to, oh God, it's collapsed. So they've seen my emotions through the whole thing. And you know what? It's been the best thing that's happened to me, because when I told them, they were fully understanding. There was no surprise. There was no like, you idiot. It was just, thank you for letting us know. If you need anything, we're right there. So I urge everyone, get a routine and speak up to your family, because they will all support you, because it was not your fault. And that's
Matt, there's a lot of people asking in the chat about what your Twitter handle is, effectively who's talking. So
I've literally got about 3 followers. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a very brief rundown, and I'll try and put it in the chat. I've done Football Index since the end of 2018, and I never really joined Twitter till probably since about Black Sunday, because I was getting so enraged about the comms. I wanted to find out more. I joined it, and I've literally probably put out 2 tweets. I'm very passive on Twitter. I'm not one of those that like gets involved and gets angry, because for me, I'd rather save my feelings for my family. And I don't know, I'm not an outspoken type of person, so I will I'll pass it on. So if people want to follow me, look at a very boring Twitter. But I think it's just so important to speak up. Like right now, I'm numb. That money, I've invested a lot of money. Thankfully, I'm buying a house this year, and it will not affect the house purchase. So, you know, thankfully for me, I haven't gone that that overstretched. But I tell you what, if they turned around in 2 months' time and said, case closed, you're getting nothing back, that'll be when it probably hits us all hardest, because we've effectively impacted our future, you know, whether it's an inheritance for your future children or whatever. I think that'll be the real test for all of us as a community. So, do you know what? Let's soak it up. Let's support each other right now. But if this goes south and really goes worst case scenario, it's going to get a lot worse for people. So let's just be really positive with one another. I think, Stu, you know, this is the second time I've been on. I listened to your one on Saturday as well. I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and I know you feel a lot of guilt, but do you know what? Just keep doing what you're doing, because don't feel guilty. You got out at the right time. You weren't to know. You profited. We didn't. There's no harm in that. I just think carry on doing what you're doing, because it's helping a lot of people.
Thanks, mate. Guys, I'm getting some stuff through. People talking to people they know about administration. I'm just going to read out some stuff here. They will open it to people to purchase equity under the management of Begbie's. If that fails, they will sell off all of their assets and spread the money between the administrators, any creditors, and you will receive a dividend of whatever is left. It will be a percentage if that does happen, and that percentage depends on how much is left and whether the creditors had fixed or floating charges. Fixed charges get paid first, floating will be treated the same as us. So you would get back, you need to see the report to get an idea of how much we would get back. They'll prepare a report and put it on Companies House within the next few days, but it will probably be months before they decide whether to liquidate or not. The tech would sell for a decent amount to the right buyer, just depends on how much of a debt shitstorm they are in, is the verbatim statement that I've been given by somebody. So effectively, it's back to this. The primary goal sounds like it is to maintain the company in some form. It sounds like we will know a bit more in the next like 10 days or so when they release this statement. So it will give us some good information then to make more informed decisions or share more insights on exactly where we are with that. It sounds like even in the worst case scenario, there will be some money to come back. How much that is completely up in the air at the moment. It will depend on how early in the stream they've called this process. So if they've still got a big bank pile, but they've seen the writing on the wall at a very early stage and they've had the courage to come forward and do it. I know it's weird to talk about Football Index and courage, so please forgive me for that faux pas, but if they've at least had the common sense to see it coming over the horizon and call it at the earliest possible point when there are the most assets on the table, that will hopefully mean the best possible return for the community. Somebody else has sent me a list of the order in which people are paid out, but basically, unfortunately, customers are near the bottom of the list, so a lot of other people get their cash before we do, but we are still on the pay list within there.
It does make you wonder, all of the recent directors and top level people who've moved on. The timing is is definitely interesting, to say the least.
Yes, yeah, it particularly with who has left, the CFO. You know, it has to be asked, what was he reporting at the time. You know, how has this been allowed to get to this state? I honestly don't know. I am trying to be slightly careful about what I say on that, because I don't want to get any legal fun along with the other headache of all of this. I'm just skimming through the comments to see if there is anything else. Lots of talks about Ponzi's and Enron. Christ, Enron's a bit of a legacy one, isn't it? Learn about that in bloody politics. A levels. Yes, they are dodgy as sin. The relationship between Index Labs, that needs to be understood. I don't know how that all works with, if that is completely separate entity they can somehow peel off and take away, or if it's all linked together in enough of a way that there will be, you know, implications that will be linked together.
Probably the big UK one is Thomas Cook, where they asset stripped all the planes off and that, and you know, sold every component from the shops, the physical shops, the planes, the whole digital infrastructure. And also they were trading right up until they ceased trading at midnight, which is quite a ironic parallel with Football Index. I'm gonna sign off here, Stu, because I've been drinking away and I'm a bit fucking steaming right now. I'm a bit fucking angry. I've been angry since I joined you hours ago, and thank you for letting me come on and rant and rave incoherent sentences. So guys, if you want to come on, text Stu. Stu's a great guy. He invited me on, and I've talked shite for the last couple of weeks. Thank you, and hopefully we all come out of this better educated, better informed, and better aware of scrupulous snake oil salesmen happen to be Football Index. And peace and love to all of you, and take care. Okay.
Just before you go, Mark, somebody's just shared something that's interesting that I want to share you to hear before you go. So somebody has also shared that apparently if there has been any wrongdoing done, everyone would be able to file a class action lawsuit against the owner. He's probably loaded personally, even though there's no money in the company. So if that happens, everyone jump on that party bandwagon. So basically, if it does all go tits up and it proves to be a point that there has been untoward activity, the community could raise a class action lawsuit against Adam Cole himself, by the sounds of things. Everyone should get involved in that, because hopefully that would at least get some remuneration back to people as well.
No win, no fee, hopefully.
Yes, yeah. I imagine so. I would have thought if something of that magnitude, they would probably take it on no win, no fee, but I'm not sure. What else am I being sent here? But yeah, that was the main thing, mate. So have a good evening, and thanks for coming. I think somebody sent me a photo of Adam Cole's house.
Jesus.
Don't
be anything silly that's going to end yourselves in jail like that. Don't be threatening staff. Don't do anything that's going to come back and give you a criminal record. Be sensible.
No trolling.
We'll get them in the long grass. Okay.
So somebody sent me a photo of a mansion. Basically, it's a mansion. It's less than 2 years old, and it's worth a couple of million. So at least there's that we could go after with a class action lawsuit if it came to that, I suppose.
I'm sure that's in his wife's name or girlfriend's name. But anyway, good night, guys. Take care.
Thanks for coming on, Mark.
Stay easy. Okay.
Take care,
best, guys. Night.
Stu, just to prove a point, that is my Twitter handle, and I have 6 followers. So that's how useless.
Oh, hang on. Are you messaging me this in Zoom?
No, I changed it on the Zoom.
Ah, right. Okay, let me have a quick.
What I'm saying is, I'm not the most technological. Would be pretty ironic considering the amount of money I put into this frigging app. But if anyone did want to speak to me privately, that's absolutely fine. I've had a few people. I know there is a FI Paroka from Saturday.
Yeah.
We've been chatting quite a bit offline because he looked absolutely devastated on Saturday. And we were just talking about how to work out what we put into the index. And I'll tell you what, it's really nice just having a couple of messages like, how are you, bud? You know, join this WhatsApp, join this, you know, we want to share some love, talk about things. You know, never met the bloke and he's sound as houses. So
He's
you know,
a good lad, Paroka.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to him today at all? Have you spoken to him, and do you know if he's all right at the moment?
No, I haven't dropped him a message yet. To be fair, I didn't see, this is how useless again I am. I didn't see his message about 2 days ago, just asking me a question. So I replied to it. After this, I'll jump off and I'll see if he's all right. But yeah, literally, just anyone just say, you know, share me your story, or, you know, what's your biggest high, what's your lowest low. Just start sharing some of the stories, because tell you what, like everyone else has said, I haven't watched any football, and it's killing me, because I so want a random player. And I'm a Villa fan for my sins, but I am so gutted that I don't get to see Rashford banging a hat trick and raise him up a quid, you know, and then get top forward. It's so crazy how the app gives you so much more to football than just your own team. So yeah, I think just start sharing those stories, because there's going to be some crackers out there, good and bad, but it'll all help in the process, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose the one good thing of all of this is I don't have to sit there watching Liverpool versus Man United and hope Bruno Fernandes scores.
Yeah, yeah, true.
I do think that there's like a whole generation of football that's like ahead of us now, with all of the young players that like some of us own, the premium youth holds, and all of those, just to see like how they do pan out. And it's just going to be a bit of a nightmare if, like, for example, for me and my disliking of Greenwood making it in the index, what his price would have been if the index carries on, and, you know, if he does make it still, or for example like Zaniolo, I'm pumping, but there's no one to buy, so it makes no difference now. You know who I say. I could say buy Pogba. You can't even buy him even if you wanted to. So yeah, shame really.
Yeah, I don't know. I am somebody that is sort of known for being a bit of a robot when it comes to being a human being, and I am just so angry for the community. I don't think I've ever felt so much fucking empathy in my entire life. It's a bit overwhelming, really. That I just can't believe that it's been allowed to get to this point, and they've been allowed to do this, and that they've looked to do this. It is just absolutely disgraceful, and I just can't believe that it's happened, really. And it's just fucking
it's just mad, the dreams they sold us. Like, I remember when they first mentioned order books, I've not been call it a professional trader before. You know, I joined it like most people for the love of, you know, matching football with betting. That's not just putting a £20 acca on and praying to God that 1,000 to 1 comes in. So they sold us the dreams, and even order books, I was like, God, this is out of my depth. But you know what? The product is absolutely flying. How can this go wrong? And then it launched it, and you're thinking, God, I can get these players cheaper than what they're on the display price for. This is, you know, and in your head you're thinking, too good to be true, too good to be true. But nothing seemed to go wrong. And then as it started turning, your stubbornness takes over, and you go, yeah, but this is Football Index. This is the revolution coming. You know, it'll get round. And I think by the time we realised it was too late, i.e. this year, very few people had the chance to jump ship, because you were chasing what was £15 Sancho, who's now a £5. So you were going, wait till he gets to £9, then I'll sell him. And they're constantly dropping. So you were always having to pick an exit point. Like you've said before, always find an exit point. I think people had one. They just completely lost grasp of it. And
well, sorry, I was quickly cutting. I absolutely agree. And it's also, I think it's a highly addictive product, because, like,
yeah,
I've been sitting there looking at it this week, and I put in 250 quid, and then I took it back out again like 3 hours later, because I went, no, what are you doing? Like, you know, it was just like, because that was the only cash that I had available, and I was just like, but look at it, it looks so it's so low. Like, there must be, you know, must be profitable. And I kept coming back to myself and going, no, right, think where the dividends are going to be. It's going to have to be that many wins for them to make back money. There can't be a way that this is going to work out all right for you. You've got to stop. but I love the product so much that I keep looking at it and keep being lured back to it and keep wanting to come back on it. And it is just there. And I think everyone's been saying it on all the chats and stuff like that, like I look at it every day. I looked at it this morning, I look at it in the afternoon, I'm checking things, I'm seeing what the market's doing, working out what it is, whether I want to get in or stuff. And it's crazy. And yeah, made worse by all of this stuff around the different offer views that you can look at of what the prices are, to kind of delude yourself as well of like, well, how much is my portfolio worth today? How am I feeling? Am I feeling in a good mood or a bad mood? I'll change the dial by like thousands of pounds by whether or not I pick average offer or not. It's just.
But that's the thing. So I think the product outgrew the leadership, and in terms of the leadership trying to keep up with the product, they just kept making mistake after mistake after mistake, and the product just ran away from them. I mentioned on Twitter earlier that they had liquid gold in a product and they turned it to absolute shit within the space of a week. And I say within a week. Obviously, it's been a good few months that they've taken it down this road. But sometimes, like, leadership needs to make harsh decisions when they've got a product that can be so universal. I mean, I was looking at buying stocks about 3-4 months ago, and I was like, to be honest, I could buy BP, I could buy BA, but I don't really give a shit how well BP and BA do as a business. So I could buy my favorite footballers and actually enjoy my hobby and make some money from it. And it's like the perfect combination. You think that to be able to get that balance and how difficult it actually is, and to have a product that, it takes a humble leadership to go, do you know what? We're going to step aside, not even step aside as in leave the business, but we're going to take a less active role, and we're going to bring in people who have a track record of fintech organizations that are humble enough to take it to the next level. I'm not talking about people like Akash, like with his ego and his attitude, coming in, going on pods, like, trying to be some sort of hero, just like people who are there in the background doing the day-to-day work and really managing the process to make the product mainstream and get it to that level, because their marketing has been pretty good. I mean, I remember 18 months ago watching like 30-second, 90-second videos of, the new offers and the music and stuff like that. And that's what really got me hooked on it. But so from a marketing aspect, it was great. But from a actual strategic leadership point, they just let the product get bigger than they were, and they thought they were the product and they weren't. And that's what saw the disconnect between the leadership and the traders. And I think that's probably what's led us here now, as well as the grey acts that they followed up with.
Yeah, I think we all know it turned at the point where they still pursued order books. You kind of thought, okay, that's a big call considering, COVID and all that. You think about how hard our ports dropped when they then removed instant sell, and you're thinking, okay, they're protecting themselves, fair enough. And then they still went through with it. We can look back with hindsight now. We're always going to follow it, because at the end of the day, we were like, do you know what, this could take us to the absolute next level, But when they still push through that decision, it's almost like that was day one of, right, now we're lost control. And I completely agree, Yavi. I think they didn't know how to scale the model up from where they got to. And they almost thought that, do you know what, this order book will just take care of itself. What they didn't realise was they needed so much more money invested into the platform. You look at Bet365 and they talk about the payouts that some of the leaders are getting over the last 10 years and how they've grown. But they've never once become a product that's too big for them. They've always been mainstream. They've always been in control. They've been the next level thing. The marketing's been bob on. With Football Index, it was almost like, well, let's sponsor a load of championship clubs and, let's do all this stuff. And all of a sudden, it'll just take care of itself. But then it just hasn't. They've not then kicked on. You think Forest and the likes of QPR and whatnot are going to be desperate to shift their kits, desperate to change logos and stuff. That's damaging for them as well. So this is not just going to hit the FI community. This is going to hit other clubs and things like that as well. It's a big one.
But there is the aspect that this is listening to podcasts about 2 years ago with Adam Cole on. It was always their intention to move to a fully functioning order book market, like a stock market for and of footballers. So it was always their intention to take it to the place that it is now. But the problem, I think the biggest problem is that they didn't properly educate the man on the street betting individual who doesn't have that financial level knowledge of markets and stocks and how they really work. And they the vast majority of the punters are exactly that. We like a few quid here and there, and the fact that they went away from that model way too soon didn't really educate the fan base, didn't really take us on that journey with them, and just changed it pretty much overnight. Just screams of, well, just errors across the board, really.
Yeah, massive errors. Sorry, guys. There's a couple of questions in the chat that people want me to give a view on. I'll let you guys give your same view as well in a second. Do I think that Football Index was a profitable business at one point? I imagine it probably wasn't, not because it couldn't be, but because I think they had such an aggressive growth strategy that they were happy to run at a loss to grow at an exponential rate to a set point. And so I think they probably ran at a loss or bang on capital throughout the run up to, certainly to order books, on a sort of let's go for run at an early loss to get the maximum growth and build the product to as big a possible point as fast as possible. And then we will look at, easing off our foot off the pedal. And that's the point where we'll become profitable. Do I think it could be a sustainable and profitable business? That the model is just, it would just be basic math. It absolutely could be. You would just need to price the points of things to be in the right place for your dividend structure. And it's particularly if you had it on a buy and an instant sell structure where you controlled how much it was for people to buy into those shares, and you could issue them at a set price if people wanted to buy them, and you could then set the instant sell price back, and you could set the spread on all of that, and you could raise the prices on whatever algorithm you chose based on how many shares are in the market to create scarcity and drive the price up. Then absolutely, I think the business model could be profitable. I think it's just been, it's like Yabi said, I think it was a brilliant idea. The people that had that idea didn't have enough knowledge or understanding or business acumen to be able to take that idea to its apex. They managed to run it at a very high velocity and burn very bright for a few years, and it's all come crashing down because they just didn't know enough. Right, everyone was calling for Rover. Rover's joined us, so I want to let him have a bit of a say, and then we can get back to some more of this stuff. Rover, welcome to the pod, mate, or YouTube broadcast, what you're going to call it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Well, in all honesty, I don't really have a lot to say. When I went on Fig, I'd sort of written a list of things I was going to say, but I literally am only coming on now because a few people have DM'd me and said they wanted me to come on. So what can I say that I haven't already said, really? In all honesty, right now, I actually don't care that much what happens with Football Index, because the effect this is having on people mental health wise, for it to happen during COVID as well, it's just horrendous, really. I've been putting a brave face on it. I'm okay, but I tell you, if it wasn't for the fact that I've had schizophrenia for 5 years now, and if I hadn't developed really strong coping skills, then I don't know what I would be doing right now. I'm just very fortunate that I've had good support and good help, and I've got the right medication and everything. And I don't know how many people are on Football Index, but there must be a lot of people on there with mental health problems. And I just hope that everyone's okay. I've heard some horrific stories already, but I don't have them substantiated, so I don't want to go into more detail about that. But ethically, I really don't care what the terms and conditions say. Ethically, what they've done is absolutely abhorrent, and I don't know whether this will ever get to a court or what will happen. But I just think it's an appalling abuse of trust, and so many good people have suffered because of this, and I'm really don't know what to say, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Mental health is key at this point, and like I've said to everyone, the primary outcome of administration is to try and make sure the company continues to exist. So this isn't that all your money is absolutely gone. This is them trying to find a way forward, and hopefully that there will be a way forward at this without that leadership that might mean that there is a way forwards out of this for people. So it's very serious.
What makes me feel bad is that I went on the John Nellis, did a podcast with John Nellis a few months ago, and I pretty much promoted Football Index as I never used the word safe gambling, but I've had problems with drugs all my life, and when I was younger I used to be addicted to fruit machines. I never actually said that because I didn't think it was a good thing to say, but right now I'm actually not that bothered. I haven't gambled on any, apart from a couple of blips, I haven't gambled in any way other than Football Index for well over 5 years now. But I really thought that Football Index was a better form of gambling, because your bet rolled over and you could keep on, it wasn't like if you have an accumulator or if you bet on a match, you lose your money straight away. And I definitely feel quite guilty now that I've promoted that. But I do think there's a lot of people, one of my best mates is Eddie Football Index, and I went to university with him, and he's the one that first got me into this, and he's absolutely racked with guilt now. And it doesn't matter what I say to him. I've told him that I don't blame him at all, but he still feels awful. And I've brought other people into this as well. Rover Dean is one of my best mates, and he's lost a lot of money on it. There's a lot of people that are feeling very guilty now, and I can't quite, I'm obviously pissed off with Football Index, but if I'm honest, I guess some of the responsibility does lie with us traders as well, because I never read the terms and conditions from top to bottom, if I'm brutally honest. I just assumed that, all gambling companies have got bad terms and conditions that will usually benefit them more than you. And I think when the money's rolling in, then you just don't think about it. I never, ever thought that a day like this would come. And so it's a big lesson to me, a massive lesson to me for sure. But I just think that such a big opportunity has been lost here, because the concept of Football Index was absolutely phenomenal, still is absolutely phenomenal. And I honestly don't know how they've let it get to this point, just the failures and, the things that they've said. And I don't know how it works with the legal side of things, but for me, right, if you read in writing that it says they're going to have liquidity, they're going to have NASDAQ, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, then you take that at face value, and it's just a massive betrayal for me. There's so many things that they haven't done. And what I really wish, I've got friends who the last straw for them was when they stopped the IPDs. And I've got one friend who's gone over to SoRare, and his profits now are absolutely sky high. And the worst thing is that I want to feel happy for these people, but there's a part of me that just feels quite bitter right now. And that's a part of me that I don't like, because, those people haven't done anything wrong. But I guess it's easy to say that money doesn't matter at times like this, but in all honesty, I'm 37 years old, I'm single, I've got schizophrenia, I live on my own, and this was basically my nest egg for sort of getting my life in gear and everything. I spent 10 years borrowing money off my dad, spending it on drugs, putting it up my nose, and I probably tried a little bit too hard, and I wanted this to work too much, because I wanted to prove to my family, that I can be independent and I can make money on my own and everything. And so the feeling that I've got right now is like that I'm back at square one. But at the same time, I have genuinely made some phenomenal friends through this, and I'm confident that I'll get through it, but it's a difficult time. And the other thing, not to harp on for too long, but I have a contact in responsible gambling, won't say who. When I spoke to them, they basically said that they're having to all operate under false names. And they've had threats on, they've had them on LinkedIn, they've had them on all over social media. And these people, whatever's going on at the top, there's plenty of good people working there that are probably going to lose their jobs, and they don't deserve that. They really don't deserve that. That makes me feel bad that people are resorting to that kind of behavior. It really does.
Yeah. The problem with these things are normally the people who are most accessible are the people who are least culpable. So,
Yeah.
you know, the Football Index customer services representative or the person at the Gambling Commission you get to speak to, they don't make decisions. They have no influence on anything. They probably know less than you do because they've probably been told a script 2 minutes before you came at them, having read and digested and explored every outcome of every scenario of the narrative you've been given. And don't take it out on them. There's nothing they can do. It's awful and it's bloody disgusting, but unfortunately all the vitriol's got to be saved up for the people at the top, the people in control, the people that made these decisions or failed to make these decisions when the blindingly obvious was there.
But you know what really worries me more than anything is that, I mean, maybe now it will change because I think people expect it to go under, but the reason I've been so vocal about mental health is because I've had a lot of messages of people who say that they've basically voiced concerns about their mental health and they've had their accounts stopped. Now, again, I cannot substantiate this, and these people may have been embellishing things or what have you, I don't know. But it worries me to think that people might actually be considering hurting themselves or harming themselves or doing something really worrying, and they're too scared to tweet about it because of the fact that they're worried of the consequences, the financial consequences of it. And I just hope now that, I mean, I'm okay, but I am going to open up more on Twitter now because I just, it's got to the point where money is of secondary importance. And if there's anybody that is really, I mean, I've seen tweets, people asking for the numbers of Samaritans, all kinds of things like that. I just hope that if anyone is upset or worried or thinking of doing something bad, then that they'll reach out. I really do, because you just don't want anything bad to happen. You don't want any lives to be lost or anything like that. And I'll tell you what else, this is going to sound a dodgy thing to say, but everybody knows what these people look like. And I really hope that they've got security as well, because I don't know how many people are on the Football Index, but it's safe to assume that some of these people have lost everything and that they're desperate, and desperate people sometimes do desperate things. So I'm sorry if that sounds like a bad thing to say, but I just hope that everyone gets through this and that no harm comes to anybody, because it's a truly horrible situation. It really is.
I just want to follow up with 2 points just before I head off to bed. The first thing is I completely agree with Rover around the unethical piece, because what they've done when it comes to legislation, terms and conditions, and all of those things, you know, you can interpret them in several different ways. That's the first thing. But some of the things that they did in the lead up to the Q&A that wasn't a Q&A, that was a faceless statement, was pretty obvious and pretty shocking at the same time, minting players, IPOing players in the lead up and all of those things. So I think that they're fully responsible for those things, and those things are calculated. It's not a case of they wake up one morning and go, let's just IPO a bunch of players, and because they did it consistently over a solid period of time as well, and with the minting as well. But there is one thing that I want to just end on that might be slightly controversial. I'm in a customer facing role at middle management level, and in all honesty, you hear things that happen, and you are privy to certain conversations that go on. In the same way that I agree that you shouldn't just get on the live chat and completely destroy some poor guy or woman who, you know, is just trying to answer a few questions. There are account managers within that business who actively touted the success, the stability, the long-term vision, the long-term roadmap. This is what we're going to do. I've heard Panda talk about it on a different pod, saying, you know, just coaxing people to put more and more money in because it's going to be phenomenal returns and all of these things. So I hold them accountable, maybe not equally, but as close to the same level as you can get to Adam Cole and Mike Bowen and the leadership team. So, you know, they don't go without blame when it comes to that situation. So that's my.
What we're going to do. I've heard Panda talk about it on a different pod, saying, you know, just.
So Addy, I think you're listening to us in a lag, and we're getting the feedback.
And all of these things.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
I do like the sound of my own voice, but you know, just to hear myself talk again is something crazy. But I just wanted to say, you know, thank you so much for having me on this evening. Don't take everything I say too seriously on Twitter. You know, it's, you know, occasionally it is banter. It's been a pleasure being a part of this community over the last couple of years, 18 months to 2 years. Met some amazing people. Rover's one of them. Fallen out with him, made up with him. Addy the same. You know, life's too short. We're all mates at the end of the day. And at least we've got one common enemy moving forward, and hopefully things work out. I do hope that the index does carry on in some form. Obviously, the hope was always without this leadership team. It appears we've got that, but I suppose it just depends at what cost now. So everyone take care of yourselves, and it's been a pleasure.
Take care, Yavi.
Thanks very much, Yavi.
Take care, guys.
So I just wanted to just butt in there and just say, like, although I completely love Rover and everything he said was right, do I care that Adam Cole or Mike Bowen have security? Do I fuck? I'm sorry. They deserve everything they get. If some angry person who's lost everything wants to hunt them down, you fucking go do it. And I'm sorry, I don't care what. It's like,
look, can I just
security? Sorry.
Can I say some? Can I just say something? Look, I've had schizophrenia for 5 years now, and I've never really been religious at all. But one thing that I've come to believe in the last 5 years, and you may or may not agree with me, is I believe in the concept of karma. I really do believe in it, and that's just my personal opinion. I don't condone violence on anybody at all. I'm not saying anyone should be hurt or anything like that, but I genuinely do believe that you reap what you sow in life sooner or later. And I can't even say who's, you know, Bowen and Cole have done it quite cleverly in a way, because they can both point to the other one, can't we, for who's responsible. And at the end of the day, we don't know. But we will just see what happens. At the end of the day, right, those people, they've got to live with the fact that they've massively affected, you know, thousands and thousands of people. And frankly, if I was responsible, I'm not sure that I'd be able to sleep well at night. I'm really not, because of, you know, the families will be broken up because of this. I won't say who, but one of my very best friends, he's lost a lot of money on it, and I know he's religious, and I know that it's eating up at him now, and having to tell his parents. I basically had to sort of push him to do that, because I said, if you don't tell them soon, it's going to hit the media. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. I never ever would wish harm on anybody, but I do believe that sooner or later in life, if if I had all the money that they've got, I don't know how much money they made out of it. Is that worth more to me than being able to look at myself in the mirror and say that I'm a good person? I don't think it is. I really don't.
They don't give a shit about that. That doesn't bother them. Literally, I understand what you're saying, and you're so right. But these are different breed of people. These are cunts. They don't care about looking at themselves in the mirror. They care about their big fat bank balance. Do I give a fuck about them? No, I don't. And I'm not. I agree with you. I'm not condoning violence. I'm not saying, but security, I don't give a fuck what they've got. All I know is they've got a lot of people's money.
Yeah, well, like I say, there are so many different angles we can come at this from, and I think it's about trying to find the best way forward and the positives in this. And like I say, I think Rover's stuff about mental health is so important. I think that the community, the one good thing that's come out of this so far is the amount that this has shone a light on people's mental health, and how much information has been shared around the community about mental health. A lot of people sharing stories about how they've opened up about their mental health for the first time, or they've started to seek support or help for the first time. It's really getting it out there in the open, and I think that's a really big positive that will come out of this. I would share what Paroka was saying the other night. You know, it will be the hardest conversation you will ever have with your partner and your parents, probably, about sharing these bits of information about where you are with this. But it is better to share it and get it out in the open, and cry and shout at each other for 5 minutes, and come at it as a united front together against this situation, rather than let it eat you away inside, because that sort of thing will just eat at you and eat at you and eat at you. And it's so dangerous, that sort of secret and stuff. So just, I know it is horrifying to share that sort of information, but it will, trust me, it will be better in the long run to share it now. The sooner the better, to get that information out there and explain what has happened, and try and share exactly where we are, and so you don't know what the future brings, because there's this situation, so you don't know exactly how bad it is. But you wanted to share that information so that they knew, you know, and, you know, apologize and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's not your fault. But, you know, you will feel you need to apologize, and they will probably seek that from you as your partner, because, you know, the first thing, they won't see it as like they've done it, they'll see it as a bad decision. But, you know, after that, they will come round to your side. You know, people don't want to punish people they love and care about. They want to help them. You know, people have made some bloody stupid decisions in their lives, and the family and friends and everyone will always rally around them at the end of the day. So, you know, don't be afraid to tell them. It will probably be a very painful couple of days, but after that, you will get so much more support, because people will understand why you're quiet, why you're upset, why you're isolating yourself, why you don't want to talk, and all of that they'll get you to open up.
Can I just say a couple of bits, because you're saying some real good stuff, Stu. I know, Addy, you said that you haven't faced it yet.
No, still haven't.
Just to reiterate, mate, I told my partner day one, I was like, right, I'm doing it, because I can't see this is going to boom, you know, and all this stuff. And she has seen my highs, my lows. I've said this earlier on here, but because she's enjoyed the journey with me the whole way through, she has been the person straight away that's gone, we'll get through this, we'll save again, etc., etc. So I urge people, so like, since I put out my world-class Twitter handle, as you can see, you know, revolutionary, a couple of people have already followed me. Crazy, I know, but you know, some people have already said, I haven't spoken to anyone. And you know what? I have 10 followers. That's a massive success for me. One person's already said, I've not spoken to anyone, you're the first. Brilliant. Bring it on. Let's have a chat. Let's see, you know, what have you invested, what you can do next, etc., etc. So, do you know what? Just, Addy, I would urge you, mate, I'd say set yourself a 7-day limit. Within the next 7 days, I will approach it. And then what that'll do is you'll play the scenario in your head over and over again until you get the right way of saying it. And I promise you'll get the outcome that you're hoping for.
You're so right. I mean, I told my mum, she's only put, this was a while ago, she put 7 grand in. And then to tell her now, it's all gone. It's just like, I can't, I physically can't do it. All I'm going to have to do is just give her 7 grand when I get 7 grand, and just say, that's how embarrassed I am. And
yeah, I know.
I shouldn't feel embarrassed, because it's not my fault, but I can't tell my mum that you trusted me with 7 grand, and now you've got nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Addy, can I just say something in response to that? This is another thing that I've not said before, but I really don't care now. It's an interesting thing that you've just mentioned, right? Because when I had my enhanced due diligence, I'm pretty sure it happened early, because I'd made a really bad trade, I think, on Messi, and I'd lost a lot of money. I was having a tough time, and I'd put some tweets out that were perhaps a little bit dark, and I presume that somebody has alerted FI, or they've seen that themselves, and they phoned me up to discuss it with me. And I then, at the same time, they then did my enhanced due diligence, and my dad had offered to my dad's advance his inheritance to me and my siblings if there's an opportunity, and he'd offered to advance me some money. And FI were absolutely adamant that I could not use any money from a third party at all, and that if my dad wanted to do that, then he would have to start his own account. Now, I don't know.
My mum's got her own account.
Right. Oh, okay, fair enough.
She's got her own account, but my mum, she don't know how to log on or anything. She don't even know what fucking day it is. But she's just she does her own. She put it in and just left it. So she's like completely separate to mine. But she always says like sometimes like, oh, what's going on with that football index? I just say, oh, it's fine, and yeah, it is tough to tell them.
Try and imagine this. My position, right? I was hooked on drugs, mainly cocaine, for most of my 20s, and my dad has had to bail me out of so many situations. There was even one occasion when I'd ended up in hospital and I'd owed this dealer a load of money for cocaine, and I had no way to pay him back. And my dad literally transferred a huge amount of money to this drug dealer, because if he hadn't have done it, they would probably have come and found me in the hospital. I mean, that's just one example of many things, and I'm deeply ashamed of a lot of things that I've done in my past. I've inherited money off my grandparents and I've blown it all on cocaine. And the thing that's really hard for me to stomach is that this was a positive project for me. It was all the money that I used to put into drugs and alcohol and smoking and everything was all going to go into the football index. And I kind of accepted that if I lost some of it, then I was okay with that, because whatever I had left was still something. But I never thought that I'd see the day when potentially I would lose all of it. And so that's really difficult for me to get my head around. But my dad, though, I'm just going to say this because he listens to all these things. My dad, when I messaged him straight away, he didn't judge me at all. He didn't say anything negative. The first thing he said is that if you need financial support, I'm there for you and everything. And I just think my dad's a great guy. The things that I've put him through in my life, and that he's still there now, and he hasn't judged me at all. And, you know, I've lost a lot of money from drugs and gambling, and it's very easy to just come to the conclusion that I've done the same thing here. And in actual fact, my sister, as great as she is, she definitely just thinks that this is just me being stupid again, and she's not really interested in knowing more, which is fair enough. It's kind of like, you know, the boy who cried wolf. I can understand that she doesn't believe that. I got friends saying that I told you so and things like that. But, you know, my dad just hasn't judged me at all. And it's difficult for me because the whole point of me doing this was to try and get more independence. And the reality is that now I'm not skint, but, you know, I am in a situation where I might need my dad's help again. And it's humiliating for me to have to accept that. And I do also have to say that I accept some responsibility for this, because it is a gambling platform and I have put a lot of money into it. And, you know, there were some warning signs, you know, recently. So I blame Football Index, say 90%, but I think it's important as well to accept that, you know, we have all put a lot of money into a gambling platform, and we do have to take some responsibility for that ourselves.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You are right. Your dad's a legend, let me just add.
My dad is a legend. He really is. He's brilliant. He's 72 years old and he's got chronic back pain, and he's got a lot of things wrong with him. He's a really bad hoarder. We're trying to get him to move out of his house, but my dad is just one of the best people. He's just a good guy. And, you know, all the stuff that I've done, and he's never, ever, ever stopped supporting me. And, you know, it's really difficult when you've got a son, right? And you know that your son is hooked on drugs, and you also know that he's got no money and he's asking you every day for money. You don't know whether to send it or not, because you think if I'm sending him money for drugs, he's just going to make the situation worse. But my dad just always has helped me whenever I've needed it. And yeah, you know, he's one of the most selfless people that I've ever known. I just think, at least now, you know, family, friends, everything. I've got another friend, I won't say who, but I've been on the phone to a friend tonight, and I'll say this, and it's going to sound dodgy, right? But I've got a lot of medication in my flat, and that's because I basically reduced my antipsychotic dose recently, a few months ago, and I have to get my prescription every month, because if I don't get my prescription, then I get the support worker on the phone saying, why have you not picked up your prescription? I got piles and piles and piles of medicine. And I just mentioned that to my friend, and straight away that's triggered an alarm bell with him. And the thing is, right, I'm just going to stand here now and I'm going to say that I'm completely fine. And I genuinely am completely fine. But if I'm being completely honest, right, someone with schizophrenia, I've been completely fine many times, and then I've had relapses. And so I can understand that if for my family or for my friends, even me saying to them that I'm completely fine and everything, it's not entirely convincing, because they know what's happened in the past. And it's difficult because I don't know what to say to my sister to tell her that this is not gambling like what I used to do. And, you know, I don't know what to say to my dad or to my friends to say that I promise you that I'm going to be fine, because I promised them that before and I haven't been fine. So not only now am I, you know, upset for myself, I'm worried that other people are worried about me, and I don't want them to be worried about me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna share a story, guys, because I think it's a situation which is a similar one from my life. So I own a property in North Wales, which is a rental property, and it's a tenanted property. A couple of years back, I had a situation where all the tenants walked out and refused to pay any rent. So I lost all the rental income for the whole year. At the same time, sorry, all except one was staying left. The one that was left invited a homeless guy into the property who had nowhere to go. This came to light, so I had a conversation with the guy, and we came to an agreement where he would be able to stay in the property for the year while it was untenanted to try and get his life back on track. Come the end of that year, there was £15,000 worth of damage to the property. I had to go and talk to my wife. I had to go and talk to my mum to borrow some money to help make good on the whole thing. It was an asset I couldn't sell. I couldn't get rid of. I was trapped with it in the very simple way.
Where was this property?
Bangor in North Wales.
This is weird. Very weird, because I lived in Bangor, and I was in a flat where that actually happened, but I was not involved in it. Was it, what street was it on?
Tannefron Terrace.
Oh no, that's not the one. But I've sorry, I don't mean to interrupt your story,
No.
but that's something very, very similar has happened to me when I was really bad on the drugs. I was living in a house which was basically a drugs den, and I was trying to pay my rent, and I did pay most of it. But the other lads in the house, basically, they all were told they were going to get evicted. And then the night before the guy came to evict them, they literally just trashed the whole house to pieces. And I was sat in my room the whole time with the door locked because I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want anything to do with it. But yeah, I can really empathize with that situation.
And what I mean by this story is that basically there was an event that happened. There were two events that happened that were completely out of my control. I lost the tenants because they decided they just wanted to walk away from the contract, and there was nothing I could do to hold them to it. And then there was an event where I had tried to give an act of kindness to somebody, and they took that opportunity to just do whatever they wanted and cause thousands of pounds of damage. And I didn't have that money to cover, and I didn't know that that was the situation until I got there. And I had to go home that night and tell my wife basically our savings were gone, basically, because they would have to pay this money to keep that operational, because we couldn't sell it. We wouldn't be able to rent it without doing the improvements. So we had to get it all back. It's a very similar situation to where we are now, in the sense of, you know, events outside of your control have lost you thousands of pounds. It is a very difficult conversation to have, but they will understand. You know, they will listen to you, and they will talk to you, and they will be angry, and they will say, why the fuck did you do this, you stupid bastard? But at the end of the day, they will understand that it was events outside of your control, and they will rally around you, and they will support you, and that will help you get through what is a very difficult time. So
boys, I'm just gonna, because I'm gonna bounce, because I just realised the time. Shit me, I've got to be up quite early. Just very quickly, Addy, mate, just reach out if you need anything, and
Cheers,
make sure you do speak up, because as everyone said, it works. Rover, I've just followed you, mate, because what you said tonight is some seriously honest stuff, and I think a lot of people are going to benefit from it. So keep doing it, mate, as well. And Stu, mate, I only followed you, what was it, the announcement Friday, so it's only been a week, but what you're doing, mate, is class. I will join every single one that you're on. Just keep doing what you're doing, because this is like, it's like an AA meeting, isn't it? It's just coming together and just sharing stories. So just try and get some sleep, everyone, and we go again tomorrow on a new day, for better or for worse. And cheers, boys, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Take care, man.
That's all right, man. No, it wasn't covered by the insurance, the question there, because I decided not to file criminal charges against him because I knew that he was a young lad that had mental health problems and a drug addiction, and I didn't want to make his life worse. And to be honest, I was just appreciative that he handed the keys back when he did, because he could have just squatted there for like 2 years, and then at least he had the decency to leave when he did. So I was just glad that he'd handed the keys back. And yeah.
See, do you know what? I can empathise with that, but at the same time, it makes me feel a little bit guilty because many times during my 20s, I've not paid rent and all kinds of things, and I've done all kinds of, when you're addicted to drugs, then it just completely erodes your sense of moral value. And I've been living with a lot of guilt for a long time, because when I first started hearing voices, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I thought I had some kind of telepathic gift, and I was having all these conversations with my friend, and I stopped having normal conversations and I just listened to the voices, and I was literally doing the things the voices were telling me. So I was taking overdoses, I was stealing things, I was going in shops and stealing all the time because the voices said, oh, we'll protect you and you'll be fine and what have you. And it's taken me a long time to sort of get my head around that, because when the voices were telling me it and they were telling me that it was the right thing to do, I thought I was doing the right thing. And then only later, when I've recovered, I've realized that I've actually done these horrible things. And the guilt that I've had to live with because of that is, it's been really horrendous. But maybe, I tend to think that emotions are there for a reason, whether it's guilt or anxiety or whatever. If you're at the edge of a cliff and you feel scared, it's because your body doesn't want you to fall off the cliff because you're going to die. So if I'm feeling guilty now for bad things that I've done, then I guess that is part, maybe a bit of karma, and maybe it's a way of healing as well. So I don't let my emotions completely take control of me. But if I'm feeling sad, then I think, well, there's a reason why I'm feeling sad. We cry. The reason that we cry is to process the sadness, isn't it? And so I think these emotions, it's important to sort of feel them, to kind of understand, I've done so many bad things in my life, but at the same time, I've done a lot of good things as well. And I can't change the past. I can only change the future. So all I can try and do now, I've been off drugs for 2 years, which has been really difficult, but that has changed my life so much. And I guess the whole thing with the Football Index is just that I've spent the last year and a half completely convinced that it was a force for good in the world, that was, a way to gamble, not saying safely, but to gamble more safely, and that it was a positive thing. And it's very difficult for me now to kind of reconcile with that, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely right. Honestly, mate, my wife works in frontline mental health. She's worked on psych wards with people with schizophrenia. And so, yeah, I totally get, mental health. There's so many layers to it. It isn't that somebody is malicious. It is just that the mental health side of it completely changes the moral compass and the way that the brain operates and everything. There is no it's difficult to assign blame to someone who's not really culpable for their actions, because it's kind of
it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with it because I don't know how to phrase it in the right way, sort of thing. But I think you get what I mean, basically.
I mean, this is going to sound like I'm promoting myself now, but I'm writing a book at the moment about my battles with addiction and mental health and things, and I've written most of it already. But a big chunk of the book was about me writing about how Football Index was a positive in my life, and obviously now that's going to have to be changed. And some of these experiences that I've had recently with Football Index, I'm not going to lie, when something bad happens to you and you've got schizophrenia, the schizophrenia is basically a bully. It will, when you're at your weakest point, it will attack you. And the feeling is like every single person in the world is your enemy, and that everyone wants to kill you or torture you or imagine like your worst fear, and the whole world will suddenly want to do that to you. And the danger is, in that situation, if you think that the whole world is going to come and kill you and torture you and ruin your life or whatever, then a relapse is a very easy thing to do, because if people are coming to kill you, why would you give a shit about going to the shop and buying a 6-pack of lager? So it takes all the strength that I've got to fight that. And it's such a cruel illness, because if I were to go to the shop and buy alcohol or cigarettes, the voices would tell me that it was a really good idea and they'd be really supportive of me from doing that. And that potentially could be an element of addiction, presenting itself through the schizophrenia. But it's just sometimes it's really, really important for me to come on a phone in like this and talk to people or to read my tweets, because when I'm hearing all these voices tell me that everybody hates me, and then I go on my Twitter and I see like I've got 50 messages from people, like some of the messages that I've got, I know I've already said this, but they're just like, have almost brought me to tears, the things that people have said about me. Like, it's just been so completely overwhelming. And I really believe that something good comes out. If something bad happens to you in life, then and you work hard enough, something good can come out of it. And my goal at some point is I want to get my book published, and I want to talk about addiction and mental health and those kind of things. And I hope that I can keep this following that I've got on Twitter and that the community stays together. That's going to be difficult because a lot of people that have got Football Index accounts will just want to zone out, and they might just be off Twitter altogether. But I hope that I can keep tweeting and find other things to talk about. And it means a lot to me, the feedback that I've got. Like when I'm feeling down, to go through and read that feedback, it's just really, it really reassures me that I'm not this horrible person that the voices tell me that I am.
I think we'll all find that we've actually probably got an awful lot of common of just other things. Like me and John Nellis, I've obviously been on his Sunday services quite a few times, and we chat afterwards and stuff. We're both massive board game fanatics. We didn't know that about each other before we started talking offline, sort of thing. Yeah. So that's something that now bonds us outside of a Football Index side of things. You know, there's all kinds of things that I think will come out over the coming days as people open up to each other and share experiences and talk to each other to get through all of this, where we'll probably find out we've actually got an awful lot in common. And I hope that will bind the community together to sort of stay together and you know, support each other through all of this. You know, there will be some good that comes out of this. It will be difficult to see for a long time, but there will be some good that comes out of this. Is all this stuff we're talking about today?
Let me ask you a question. Would you rather be? I don't know who's running away with the money right now, but would you rather be one of these Football Index guys with like hundreds of £1,000s in your bank and the conscience of having, you know, I won't go as far as to say destroyed the life, but really, really, really fucked over thousands of people? Would you rather be that person, or would you rather have your conscience clear and know that you're a good person and that you tried to do the right thing? I'd know which one I'd rather have, honestly.
Well, I've already said on previous streams of this, I feel sick in my stomach right now with guilt because I didn't flag to people about my concerns about order books back when I left the platform the first time. I feel really sick, and I feel guilty about that. So if I had actually robbed people of that money, I would not be able to walk in front of my daughter. I would not be able to walk in front of my wife.
Your intentions were always sincere, and same with mine, and same with the people that have recommended me Football Index and the people none of the people that are on air because of me blame me, and I don't blame any of the people, you know, Eddie, who recommended it to me, because I know that these people have sincere intentions and that they were good people and they genuinely believed it was a good platform and they wanted to share that with other people. So I think I've done lots of bad things in my life with good intentions, and I often sort of battle with the idea that should I feel guilty about that or not? Sometimes afterwards, I realized that the thing that I thought was a good thing to do was actually not a good thing. But I think you can only live in the present moment and do what you think is right. And I know that when I've recommended, I mean, literally, right, this afternoon, I was chatting to people on So Rare that have made 5,000% plus profit, and saying to them that they were asking me, do I think it was a good idea to put some money back into Football Index? And I said, I didn't tweet this at the time, but back then I said yes, because I thought if you've got £50,000 profit and you put 5,000 in Football Index, my thought was, well, Sancho was what, 50p this afternoon. All the index had to do was survive, and that would be a good price. But now I'm sort of second guessing myself, because of course the trust had been eroded, hadn't it? And I guess the red flags were there, but I think love is blind sometimes, and I desperately wanted it to succeed. And I guess there's still a small chance that it will. I'd say probably less than 5%. But I mean, I now think that was a stupid thing to say this afternoon. But when I said it, I was giving that person the advice that I thought was the best, genuinely, you know. So I'm not going to feel too guilty about it.
No, exactly. You can only play the cards in front of you at any given time. You know, there is no one in this community that I've seen that it is, well, okay, maybe I've seen a few trolls, but the general thing when people have been given advice, it's been because they are trying to offer the best advice that they can give at any one given time. You know, I've been on chat groups in the very early days when it was the real rockets, where I had people asking me, do you think I should take out a loan? I can get an interest rate of 3%. And I said, no,
yes,
in a million days, do not take out a loan under any circumstances, because it's brilliant now, but you know, never put yourself into debt for something like this, because we never know what could happen tomorrow. There's so many curveballs that can happen. I don't know whether they did or not. I pray to God that they did.
Let me ask you this: that what's this? May be me being too cynical now, but what do you take about the fact that they've suspended the market on Thursday evening and then closed it on Friday, right before a weekend? Because I got a call off the responsible gambling on yesterday, and let's just assume, right, that I was in a really bad state and I was feeling suicidal. I'd already be dead by now, because, you know, 3 days had passed. And to me, if they really care about responsible gambling, why not do it on a Monday? And then they're in the office all week and they can actually take the call to people. And yeah, they can say the money's gone or what have you, but are you okay? I mean, I'm grateful that I got that call. It was a constructive call, but it took 4 days to get it.
Yeah. And for me, it's the timing of these things, because who's available for these things? Who's going to get this message? If they're doing a shift tonight, if they're on shift, then they work like 8 p.m. till 5 a.m. or something, and they log off at 5 a.m. And they get a WhatsApp. So they look at the index for the first time, or if they look at their lunch break at 2 a.m. or something. Who's there for them to talk to? Who's going to be there? You know, and that's the thing about the timing of when they're doing these things is when it's the worst possible time for people to get that information, and also the fact that, you know, it comes out in such a sporadic way. I don't know if they've sent emails out on this or if they're even going to, but it's such an inconsistent way of people getting information.
I've written about this in detail in my book, about different kinds of gambling and drugs and addiction and things like that, and I'd be very interested to know why the Gambling Commission has at no point raised any concerns about this during the whole time. That just suggests to me that it's not doing its job. Now, I'm not a financial expert or anything, but if it's as bad as it really is, then surely at some point something should have been done. And it just gets me sort of thinking about the role even of governments in this as well, because not to go off on a tangent too much, right? But with cigarettes, they've changed the minimum purchase of cigarettes from 10 to 20. And apparently the idea of that is that 20 cigarettes cost more money, so you're less likely to buy them. And in my opinion, that's a load of bullshit, because if you're an addict, I've known addicts and I've been an addict. If you're an addict and you want the drug, you will pay whatever it costs and you will get that money through whatever means. And to me, that's just very irresponsible. And I'm yet to be convinced. I do believe the person that spoke to me on the phone was genuinely concerned about responsible gambling and about mental health. That's my gut feeling from talking to them. But I'm yet to see any gambling company that really cares about the well-being of their customers. And it just gets me thinking, well, does the government actually care about responsible gambling? Because obviously the government's making money off these things. I don't know. It just, to me, just the whole thing doesn't sit well. And, you know, one of the people, I don't know whether it was done well at FI Lawyer, someone who was a lawyer on FI was talking about how when a company goes into administration and the assets are divided, the first people that get the money are going to be the banks at the top. So the people that get the money first are the people that need it the least. And the people that get the money last are the people at the bottom of the pile. And to me, it's just ethically wrong in so many ways. And I just don't like it at all. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And so just quickly, mate, because I'm getting loads of people message me on Twitter, on DMs, saying how great you're doing, and to open up like this is fantastic. There's a lot of love out there at the moment.
Thank you.
Don't know why they're not messaging you direct, but they're all messaging me to tell you. yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. What were we just talking about? It's getting late.
We were talking about whether gambling companies really take responsible gambling seriously.
They absolutely don't, and they hate to lose. I've been banned from free bookies because I worked out a way of guaranteeing a win. Because I've worked out that if you use Odds Checker, Australian tennis matches and stuff like that, there are bookies that make the odds and there are bookies that follow the odds. And the ones that follow the odds, it's amazing how often they type them in the wrong way round. So you can get 4-1 on both sides of a binary outcome. I think I made about 2 bets along those lines before I started getting banned from the bookies, and not even the ones that I was winning with. Like, I could understand the ones I was winning with going, you just won 400 quid off me, fuck off. The ones I was losing with were like, you're betting on Australian tennis matches with 100 quid. This is unusual gambling behavior. We're locking you out. We think we don't know what you're doing, but we know you're up to something. So it took about a week before 2 of them banned me and Paddy Power limited me to being able to bet 17p or something like that.
That's the sad thing about Football Index. And again, I really want to state that I'm not a financial expert, but as far as I understand, right, they're always getting their 2% commission. So the better the market's doing, the more commission they're getting. People are making money. Some people are losing money. But, again, I'm not going to mention any names, but a few people have suggested to me that people at the top of FI were looking on and seeing some accounts that were making more money than them, and they didn't like that. Now, again, that is pure speculation. I can't prove anything about that at all. But it's just a shame for me, because I thought Football Index was a concept where they could actually make money ethically. And I was never saying that every single person can make money off this, but as a concept for me, it was just so much better than any kind of conventional gambling. It really was. But I don't know whether people have got greedy, people have got incompetent. I'm pretty sure that they were advised to either to reduce dividends or not to increase them, and they basically overruled that. So there's a lot of irresponsible stuff going on there. And again, why is the Gambling Commission not looking into this? What's the point of the Gambling Commission? There's been red flags for so long and they've done absolutely nothing. So what is the point of it? Someone tell me, what is the point of the Gambling Commission?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've had an absolute howler here. I mean, I've been through just about every due diligence check FI's got to offer. I think I've even pissed in a cup for them once. But they, the timings of those were always based on withdrawals, not on deposits, which I think is wrong. And also, the level of them is just so amateur, really. It was like, send me 1 month's bank statements where it's got the month of the money going into Football Index, and it's like, I could have had like a 20 grand loan go in the month before. I didn't want to see that.
Do you know what? I'll tell you a funny story. I was on probation a few years ago for a drugs offence, and I was in North Wales, and I had to move back to Blackpool, and Blackpool probation was completely overloaded. And the terms of my probation stated that I had to have a drugs test every week, I had to see a support worker every week, and I had to see a psychiatrist, I think it was, as well. And it took them 2 months. I was back in Blackpool and they didn't sort a drug test out, or I was addicted to drugs and I had schizophrenia, and I was taking loads of drugs, which the drug test would have pointed out immediately. And I basically got paranoid. I thought I was like, people will come to kill me and stuff. And I stopped going to my probation because only because I was scared to leave the flat. And I then got breached from my probation. And I then was summoned to court in Carnarvon, which is 4 hours drive away from here. Now, bear in mind, I couldn't even get from my flat to my probation because I was that scared. There was no chance I was going to get to Carnarvon. So then they came and arrested me. They drove me in a police van to Carnarvon. They then sent me to jail for 6 weeks for breaching the terms of my probation. And if you just add up the cost of all of those things, driving me in a police van from Blackpool to Carnarvon, sending me to jail, all the time I was in jail, all those things, the whole thing could have been avoided if they'd just done their job. If they'd given me my drugs test, then it would have flagged up and there'd have been an intervention. I'm not saying that I don't blame myself for those things, but the point is that incompetence all along the line has cost them so much money. And to me, again, there's just a lot of this is incompetence, and It's just stupid, really. It really is. The amount of money that gets wasted for no reason. And this is going to go under, I think. And it didn't need to. It really didn't need to. Before order books, everything was fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I said, like, if any of the things that were coming out were even remotely true, you'd have to say there was the opportunity to make it a profitable model where people were enjoying it, people were making money, and they could have turned a profit. They could have found a way to turn a profit with it like that. And I know some people have been on these pods and disagreeing with that, and that's great. I'm happy to have those debates with people. I think it's important to have different viewpoints, and particularly people that actively disagree with you, so you can check your own thinking and make sure you're on track with the right ideas, and you're not just kidding yourself or telling yourself what you want to hear. But yeah, I definitely think that there was a way to make this whole model profitable, and that's my one hope out of all of this, is this administration is they find a way to restructure it and come out the other side with a better management and leadership team that could actually maximize the potential of this product, because I think it does have immense potential.
The concept is absolutely unique and it's absolutely superb. I mean, as so many people have said to me, I have always loved football, but I never really had much of an interest in any leagues other than the Premier League. And Football Index it's done some things that are kind of, I've hated Man United all my life, and I was rallying against Pogba for months at the start, but eventually I realised that Man United is just something you can't really avoid on the Football Index. So in that respect, it's weird because I've ended up supporting Man United because for financial reasons, and my own team, Blackburn Rovers, I've kind of become a little bit disinterested in them. And that's probably not a healthy thing, in all honesty, because, football shouldn't be primarily about money. And I mean, I've used this analogy before about giving crack cocaine to children, but I think one of the problems with the Football Index, the problem and the good thing, was that this combination of being able to make money at doing something you enjoy, it is quite enticing, isn't it? Because we all chase the dream, don't we, of making money from something that we love rather than having to go to do work 9 to 5 every day. And Football Index sort of gave you that, seemingly gave you that option. And so I was completely sucked into that. And now I'm just wondering, I've got a subscription to Premier Sports, right? I absolutely fucking hate La Liga and Serie A, but I justified buying it because of the Football Index, and now I'm stuck with it for a bloody year. But you know what? I've been through that before when with drugs and things. Drugs sort of heighten your enjoyment of things, and then when you go off the drugs, then normal things become really difficult. But I've been through that phase before, and I know that I can go through it again. So yeah, it's shit, but what can you do?
I mean, yeah, on the arbitrary football matches thing, I think the one thing I will be grateful for Football Index for forever is they made me watch weird games like Augsburg versus Mainz and stuff like that. Yeah. And there was one that was brilliant, after VAR first came in. I don't know if anyone else saw this game, but it was the one where there was a penalty shout right before half time. They called halftime. They all walked back into the changing rooms. Meanwhile, the ref staring at a VAR monitor. He drags them all out the changing rooms. They take the penalty. They score the goal, and they all go back into the changing rooms for halftime. It was just the most bizarre implementation of VAR I think I've ever seen or ever will see. It literally the millisecond of halftime, and everyone's halfway through the team talk. They'll get dragged out to go and take a penalty and then come back in. It's just utterly surreal.
Well, do you know, weird shit happens in my life, and when you got schizophrenia, you hear all these things, and it's really hard because if it's a delusion, but you believe it's real, then it doesn't feel like a delusion to you. And I've had so many things happen to me in the last few years that this is why I've become convinced about karma and things, that I believe things happen for a reason. So, for example, the way that I first got into the Football Index was I was working in a charity shop doing some voluntary work, and my friend Roverdine, his dad's an Arsenal fan, and his brother was ill, so he had a spare ticket for the Arsenal match, and he asked me, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." It was at Old Trafford against United, and straight away I thought, I've got to message Eddie. That's Eddie Football Index, because he's my best mate and he's a big Arsenal fan. And so I messaged him, "Oh, guess where I'm going tonight?" And then he said, "Oh, what about the Football Index, by the way?" And that to me, all those things were good things that kind of happened for a reason. And so I still believe that there's a reason why I've been on the Football Index and why I've had this experience. And I'm not ready just to accept the whole thing as a complete failure. And another example I can give you is on Thursday, before the market was suspended, I was actually DMing with Eric Carley. And as pretty much everyone that follows me knows, like, Eric Carley is basically my nemesis. And we've had so many arguments and bitch fights on Twitter. And we were actually talking about my schizophrenia and my delusions and things. And at that moment, the market thing happened, the suspension happened. And again, tonight, I was watching the United game and I was thinking, I've got all the United attacking players, apart from that Diallo who scored. And I was thinking, for fuck's sake, I am literally cursed. And then the Arsenal game came on and I was watching it. And I was thinking, Tierney's going to win. I've just sold him the other week. And then Gabriel scores. I've got loads of Gabriel shares. And I was like, yes, thank Christ. And literally 2 minutes after Gabriel was confirmed as top defender, this announcement came out. So I don't know. Maybe I actually am cursed. But some of these things, the way that they happen is just kind of weird. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Addy, you've been very patient, very quiet, mate. Is there anything else?
Do you know what? I just love listening to Rover talk. I'm literally just quiet and just listening. I love it. I think he's got such a great story, and I think everyone sort of supports him. I've seen on the timeline as well, like so many people support Rover. I think your story is like really interesting. So I've literally just sat here, just listening, just in a world of my own.
Do you know the great thing, Addy? You and Yavi had both blocked me at one point, didn't you? Because we'd fallen out, and it was actually through, I think, I can still remember it. I think I had a go at you for pumping Jean Fiat up at Bayern.
Most probably, yeah.
and I had a row with Yavi. Yavi's half Iranian. I had a row with Yavi about Iranian politics and he blocked me. But you know what? The great thing is that through me reaching out to the community and doing the podcast and things, I think you've seen a different side to me then. And it's kind of weird. It was obviously I don't like being blocked, but if someone blocks you and then they unblock you, then that shows that they actually do kind of respect you. And the number of people that have Index Vegan is another one. I think he, like quite a few people, blocked me because I do just tweet too much. I'm not going to lie, I tweet far too much. But I think again, these kind of events, they bring people together. They really do.
Well, I do think I think like we have our sort of Twitter beef, if you will, like with people.
Yeah.
But I think things like this, it is sort of like it's like two different sides. This is real life. I feel like we're all going through the same sort of shit. I think everyone bickers on Twitter. I go on just to chat shit, and we're always gonna. That's what made Football Index like sort of work at the start. It was people's different opinions and people thinking one person's good and one person's shit and sell and buy it. And we've all got different opinions, and it's just nice when we can all come together in times like this and put any like stuff we've had to one side.
Shall I tell you something? For me, right, life is about perspective, and I spent 5 weeks in jail. I got released on appeal because they figured out that they fucked up with it. But those 5 weeks in prison was enough for me to understand the feeling of not having your freedom. So not having your mobile phone, not having access to the internet, not being able to eat what you want when you want, not being able to go out for a walk, whenever you want. And all those things are things that I can still do now. And sometimes when I'm feeling really bad, I try and think about the worst moments in my life. And I kind of realize how lucky I am. And I know that sounds kind of a soppy thing to say, but in actual fact, right, just living in this country is absolutely phenomenal, because there are countries in the world where people are literally dying of starvation. And we've got so much in this country, we really do. And I do think that everybody kind of takes for granted, like, how much we've got. No one in this country is ever going to go hungry. No one in this country is ever has to go without a roof over their head and things like that. It really, at the end of the day, losing money, it's shit, but it kind of puts things into perspective as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Right, guys in the chat, I'm thinking of wrapping it up for tonight, just because it's late. It's 1:45. I've got a full day of work ahead of me tomorrow. But yeah, I'll just, fire me up on Twitter. Let me know what you want me to do about these. Like if you want another one of these, tomorrow or Saturday or something. We did have one scheduled in for Saturday. Just let me know, so I've got an idea of what people want, how I can help really.
Can I just say, I'm sorry if I've waffled tonight, but normally when I'm going to do these things, I sort of prepare a list of things, and a couple of people DM me and said to come on. And so I was completely unprepared for this, but I just felt, given the circumstances, that I should at least come on and try and say something.
Yeah, mate, I said it seems to have landed very well. People, so don't worry about it at all. People seem to have appreciated it, so I wouldn't
Glad to
worry
hear
at all about it. But yeah, guys, look, just as I said, it's on life support, but it's not dead yet. It's not the worst hasn't happened quite yet. It's threatening to, it's lingering there, but it's not quite the worst.
What would you give it?
Yet.
What would you give it as a percentage if you had to, put a ballpark figure on survival? Being honest, what would you say?
5 to 10.
That's about what I'd say as well. Yeah.
I was going to be a bit more optimistic. I was going to go
11%,
20, 10 to 20, just because I do think, although all the shit that's gone on, I still do think it's like attractive to a buyer. I don't know if something telling me that, and I know a lot of people will probably disagree. But
no, I don't disagree with you, Addy. The concept is phenomenal, isn't it? And that's why I think somebody might just see the concept and think it's worth picking up. But everyone that I've said that to has basically said, "Oh, it's been running to the ground now." But it's been running to the ground by bad management.
No, I agree. I think it does need a rebrand, and it does need new people to come in, and they have to build up trust, and it will take time. But inside, I just feel like it's just too good, and I think someone will see potential in it. That's what I hope and pray anyway, for everyone's sake, really.
So the people on the chat that are just saying get more people on, guys, I've said it's open all night. These are the people that wanted to come on. I can't force people to come on. I give people the option.
It's late. People have got to work, and I think there's quite a few people that are just like just done with it, or they're just not feeling up to talking now. So
yeah, no, absolutely, mate. People just So and a lot of people just don't want the attention and sit their head above the parapet. I can't blame them, mate. You do get the love, you do get the hate, so it's fine, sort of thing. So, but yeah, hopefully, guys, this helped people tonight. As said, give me a bit of a steer on Twitter about when you want the next one, whether it's tomorrow or Saturday. Or both.
The biggest thing for me is that I just hope the Twitter community stays together, because that's been a godsend for me in the last few years. It really has.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out over the coming days. Like I said, we'll hear something in the next 10 days, and we'll find out where we are, and then we'll be able to have another one of a proper deep dive one where we can get into really where we are, sort of thing.
And can I just one last thing I want to say, that I've tweeted a few times about some of the delusions and things that I have. If it does turn out that I have got some kind of superpowers and a connection to the future, then I am definitely going to reverse the timeline and let everybody know when the best time is to cash out. So you should all be rooting for me to be able to do that.
Cool. All right. Well, Addy, do you want to have any closing statements, mate?
No, just what I said before. Just my Twitter is AddyFI. If anyone needs to talk, just drop me a message, and just basically just take care, everyone.
Bournemouth going up this year, Addy? Better chance than Blackburn.
Do you know what? God knows. I hope so, but to be honest, I doubt it. We'll see. We'll see.
Right.
Rover, closing statement, mate.
Just everyone try and stay positive. Anyone that wants to talk, reach out to me. It helps me just as much as it helps them, to be honest, to be able to talk to people. So, and just try and put things in perspective, and remember that we've got a lot in this world, and there's so many things to be happy about. This is just money.
Cool. And yeah, good night for me, folks. Hopefully you'll all get some sleep, and yeah, just try and distract yourself with something else if you can't. You know, read a book, watch a film, talk to the missus, whatever it is. But yeah, have a good night, guys, and I'll catch you later in the week.
Good night.
Take care.